3 hours. That's all I got. That's all I got out of my video. I got 3 hours and it was out of date. That's the problem with doing stuff that's constantly breaking. Your video is only worth as long as it only has worth for as long as the video is actually relevant. Until an update is released and then it's all completely made redundant. Oh, hey everybody, we're just gonna have a quick look at the Mr. Beast. No, it's not gonna be quick, actually, it's not quick. It's 2.5 fucking hours long. Regretting this. Oh, thank you. Thanks. No raggarts. Let's fucking go. Shush.
Dog pack?
I heard dog pack immediately, so let's see.
Are you gonna sue Dog Pack?
Well, Mr. Beast is currently on a private jet on his way to where I live in Central Texas to have a conversation with me with the intention of addressing the controversy that he has been involved in over the last few months. And I think that it is important for me to document my intentions before embarking on this risky and difficult task. I am not Scott Pelley. I am not a hard-hitting genius investigative journalist. I'm a YouTuber with a medium-sized platform.
Why did I think he was gonna say penis there? Why did I think he was gonna say that? Anyway. And there's another video of Oompas I want to see because he says he's retiring. I guess he could. But I do want to point out the fact that, weirdly, this video, this interview does not have as many fucking views as I thought it was going to have. It's not even in 1 million yet, and it's been out for like 20 hours or something like that. It's like 850,000, 900,000, which is a lot. But I really thought this was going to get like 2 to 3 million views within the first day. Hell, I think fucking Oompa probably thought the same, right? You know what I'm realizing? Maybe Jimmy doesn't quite have the reach outside of his incredibly young fanatic audience on his main channel. Maybe that's what it is, right? Because we're entering the realm of, like, you know, later teens, 20-year-olds. Definitely not something someone in their 30s should be bothered with. And here we are. But lack of attention span, it's super long. But it's the weekend, right? You'd think people would wait until the weekend. I think this is too long. Let's find out.
I am currently doing journalism, to be fair, but I am goofy, all right? Also, back in August, I platformed Dogpack, and out of fairness, I feel that it is important to do the same for Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast has agreed to keep an open line of communication. He'll only be here for a little bit, which is crazy because he's flying halfway across the country. And he and his team have agreed to provide us with evidence and information to give proof to claims so we can actually be as transparent here as possible. The goal of this video is not for it to please everyone or gotcha somebody. It is for this video to be a meaningful source of information. So to future me and you currently viewing, I'm sure I missed some questions, but I absolutely did my best, and I stand behind the result, maybe, and I look forward to seeing the comments and criticism.
Firstly,
not really the opener that instills faith in the viewer. Is it? Also, we got a Bible on the fucking table. Ew.
would you be willing to put your hand on this Bible and swear?
Oh my gosh,
be
you
honest?
actually have a Bible?
I have 2 Bibles.
Are you being serious?
I am being serious.
Okay.
I'm swearing. We're both from the South. This will be an honest video.
Oh, your laptop's blocking it.
Oh, whoops. This will be an honest video. You're a man from North Carolina. I'm
Yes.
from Virginia.
The Bible Belt.
The Bible Belt.
Yep.
Exactly.
I know what this means.
This means it's legit.
Yes. Okay.
There we go.
I was not expecting that. Okay.
It's just like...
You didn't ask him to swear. You just asked him to place his hand on the Bible. You didn't ask him to swear on the Bible. Sorry, I just noticed.
Legal now.
It is. I could go to jail.
The first biggest question for me and a lot of people that I've spoken to over the last couple months is like, why were you so silent?
Why does bro look like that? I don't know. I think Jimmy always looks like that, doesn't he?
Especially off the bat, like you did respond to the Ava Tyson stuff immediately, but like, you know, right after that, a bunch of other stuff came out and Dawson's video, his first video, gained a bunch of traction. What was your reasoning for being so silent?
Real quick, I did hear that the comment section was relatively insightful, so let's have a look here. The Act Man, who some of you might know this guy, missed opportunity to walk in front of Mr. Beast mid-interview to look at the camera and promote sour boy. Fucking right. Is anyone here not licking ass? The internet anarchist. You hear that? It's the sound of rent being paid for commentary YouTubers. Hey. We also have all this shit here, which we may use, to be perfectly honest, for fast traveling through this fucking gargantuan open map. This open level design. I adore Oompa, but Jimmy was really calculating with this. He fucking had to be. What do you mean? He had to be. We were all aware that Oompa wouldn't actually challenge Jimmy's arguments. Jimmy should do an interview with Coffee. Or maybe we could consider why out of all of the commentary channels that Mr. Beast could have used, that Jimmy could have gone with, he went with Oompa. Maybe he was relying on Oompa's lack of journalistic skills in order to not have to be pressed on too many topics. Let's see what else is here. I'm glad he confirmed his real name isn't even Mr. B. Well, duh. Oompa really annoys me in this. It's this guy again. He just blindly agrees with everything Beast says and doesn't oppose him. Right. Well, I think that's why Jimmy went with Oompa and didn't go with anybody else. Because I know Oompa's quite a passive lad. He's not a antagonizing or confrontational type of dude. So I think someone else would have been better, to be honest. Someone who, like Coffee, for example, maybe would have been more insightful, probably would have been more aggressive in the interview. I love how everyone continentally forgets about LaCoya Hill, right? So LaCoya is not mentioned in this? Because that was one of our biggest contention in the last video. Ask him why he's collabing with notable scammers Logan Paul, right? So they don't cover that either. I would like to see this kind of interview with CoffeeZilla moderating. Oompa did fine. Should have asked more pressing questions, especially about the evidence Coffee detailed in his video. Ugh. Yeah, it definitely sounds like Oompa had the kid gloves on dealing with the big bad Mr. Beast here. He's just a child, Oompaville. He's like, what, 20? He's 26, by the way. I looked it up. He's 26. He's just a kid, man. He's just a freakishly fucking tall kid whose smile doesn't reach his eyes, which is one of my favorite expressions because it honestly does explain what people mean.
Immediately.
Yeah, it's a great question to kick it off on. You actually kind of laid out the timeline there.
First video gained a bunch of traction. What was your reasoning for being so silent immediately?
Yeah, it's a great question to kick it off on. You actually kind of laid out the timeline there. The Ava stuff came out, and I put out that tweet. We hired the investigators to go look into it. And part of that investigation is they recommended that I not talk about drama or really do anything online because it might influence, witnesses or any people they might interview or ex-employees. So it's a little unfortunate because I told them, okay, I'll wait till the investigation is over. And I believe that was literally like a week before the Dog Pack video came out. And then truthfully,
Where were these lawyers to tell him not to leave a comment on Soggy's video? Where were they? Were they out to lunch? Was he feeding them in the trough? Gave him a fucking bucket full of slop, and he's like, I'll be right back. They're stuffing their face full of fucking lawyer kibble, and they're like, you're not gonna leave a comment on a video, are you, Jimmy? No. I'll be right back.
Just in transparency, I've never done one of these like big investigations before, and in my head, it was going to last like 2 or 3 weeks. It ended up taking a couple months. Apparently, combing through all the documents and doing all the interviews and everything just took way longer than I thought, because I've never had to bring in a top tier law firm and a former federal prosecutor and let him, do this really big thing. And so that kind of concluded a couple weeks ago when I put out the tweet of the follow up.
Yeah.
Like that was the day I got the conclusion.
I can hear the elevated adrenaline in Jimmy's delivery. He's like resetting his breath occasionally, which you get whenever you're in a heightened state.
Of it, and I was like, okay, in transparency, I'll throw this out. So up until that point, it was, I had told Quinn Emanuel that, to protect the integrity, I wouldn't do anything or engage in any of this drama. And then after that, yeah, like you said, a lot of stuff had come out between when the investigation started and when it ended, and I was just kind of like, whoa, I don't really know how to like hit this stuff. And I made like a little response video, but that's just kind of not my style, where I just kind of like put a lot of the information that I assume we're going to talk about here out, and it just felt weird. Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I've never been in a situation where people have thrown this much stuff at me, and I definitely could have handled it better. Like I probably should have, like the second I could have talked, like I don't remember the exact date, 2 or 3 weeks ago when we put that.
Oh my God. So not only do we have a 2-hour, 40-minute video, we also have a Google Doc that clarifies even more of Mr. Beast's talking points here. It's also very smart of Jimmy to do this interview on literally anyone else's channel but his own. Maintain that squeaky clean front page. Know what I'm saying? That home page that looks super fucking clean. Ain't no controversies here. Stick me on, parents. Leave your kid in front of this screen. I'm fine. I'm clean. I'm Mr. Beast.
Report out. Probably should have done something like this right then. If I could go back in time, I would. And yeah, that's kind of like the brain dump. And then here I am.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, you answered it towards the end, but like, do you regret that, obviously?
Yeah. If I could go back in time, I would do what we're doing.
Maintain eye contact, Oompa. Like, he's... It's like he's talking to his boss and he's remembering the advice his dad gave him. Like, remember, you can ask your boss questions. Don't be afraid to ask them questions too. And then that was Oompa. So, what can you offer me as an employee of the company? Waiting for that what sort of response. I lost my window yesterday. We had a fucking storm.
Here, because I assume this is like the correct format. It's going to be a little bit more free-flowing and natural. And I wouldn't have wasted so much time like trying to do a response. It's just not my thing. I like so much better, or I'm assuming, I mean, we just started, but I think I'm going to like so much better being asked the questions and answer it instead of just like sitting in a chair like this, answering it. It just feels a little more natural.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that definitely, that does line up obviously with what's happened, and it makes sense. And I definitely, I feel like, before talking to you, I definitely would have.
No, his hands are open. Like his arms are open. He's relaxed. I'm sure Jimmy's very aware of body language, so he could be masking. But I don't know, man. Whenever situations like this, there's been situations that are far below this that have happened to YouTubers. Like, for example, the bullshit that happened with, what is it? Rubber Ross, Commander Holly. What was the name of the other dude? That really ugly dude. What was his name? No, it wasn't that. Like, what the fuck was his name? Pro Jared. Thank you. Fucking Christ, that was gonna piss me off. Yeah, Pro Jared. He didn't make a statement until his lawyer gave him a course of action. But like, Mr. Beast talking as if he wasn't entirely sure on how to respond to everything. It's like, it's not your decision, man. Surely you must have like a PR specialist that gave you a step-by-step guide on how to exit this situation.
Imagine that you would regret have not making a response early.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Like that, because that you could have just immediately, if there was information to debunk Dogpack's his first video off the bat.
Yeah, which obviously had so
Could
much
have done
disinformation in it. If
Yeah.
anyone saw Sagi's video or any
Yeah.
of the newer videos now coming out, like you would
we'll
see
get to
so
that
much.
too, yeah.
So much of it. So it's it's unfortunate that it happened on the back end of when I said I would not talk about or address drama and things. And I mean, there's obviously should have done this sooner. Whoops, but hey, better late than never.
Yeah. Did you think it would get this big?
No, I mean, truthfully, I thought, like, if you watch Sagi's video or any of these other videos that are coming out now showing all the discrepancies, I honestly thought a lot of people would find, like, the information proving the dishonesty earlier.
The Google?
Because a lot of this could have been, just figure out Google. A lot of this could, and now, I also have to be clear, like, I'm not perfect, and I'm not saying I've never done anything wrong, and you can't criticize me. Like, there are things I deserve criticism for, and I'm sure we'll get to some of those things in here. But there are a lot of things that are just not true, and on those things, like, I mean, we'll just get to it throughout this because I'm sure you're gonna ask me the questions. But there's just a lot of disinformation that was easily proved wrong. Like the big one that, I mean, videos with tens of millions of views collectively, claiming I called a guy Delaware because he committed a crime in Delaware, like. That is not true. His name was just Delaware. I didn't, call him Delaware to make fun of him or anything. And, I mean, I'm sure you're going to ask him later, but there's literally, he was in a video before I hired him working at Best Buy wearing
Yes, we did see this, Jimmy. We did see this.
a name tag that said Delaware. And that was public information. And anyone could have saw that. Even during when that was getting shared a lot a couple months ago, I even sent that to a couple of YouTubers. I was like, hey, just so you know, I didn't call him Delaware because of this messed up thing. That was
He has tiny, tiny hands for a man his height.
just his name, and here's proof. And I guess I probably shouldn't say the name of the creators, but one of them literally just said to me, well, it's not really cool to like you or defend you right now, so I don't really care whether or not it's true, or I don't want to take the video down because then people are gonna think I'm controlled opposition. I was like, whoa. And then also, that same photo, are you gonna?
Looks like Daniel Larson. I mean, Pro Jared's a gross looking dude, but he didn't do anything wrong.
Like you or defend you. One of them literally just said to me, well, it's not really say the name of the creators, his name, and here, just so you know, I didn't call him Delaware because of this messed up thing.
Sorry, I feel like I missed something important there. I'm just going back.
That was just his name, and here's proof. And I guess I probably shouldn't say the name of the creators, but one of them literally just said to me, well, it's not really cool to like you or defend you right now, so I don't really care whether or not it's true, or I don't want to take the video down because then people are gonna think I'm controlled opposition. I was like, whoa. And then also that same photo, are you gonna
I don't know if I'm missing something there, but is he talking about reaching out to creators who posted about the Delaware situation, asking them to take it down? Is that what he's saying there? Interesting.
throw some things on the screen for them?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so throw it on the screen. That same photo, right after that second Dogpack video.
Yeah, Pro Jared's ex-wife was fucking insane. She was just looking for her own audience. Hopefully she hasn't squandered it in the last couple of years that she's had it.
Started to get traction on Reddit and saying hey, this is a lie. Jimmy didn't call him Delaware to make fun of him, committing a crime in Delaware. That's just his name. And it got taken down by the mods on r/YouTube drama. And that's when I realized anytime there's a post proving that I'm not evil, they were taking it down. So
Hey.
Going through a divorce, so can't afford the normal tips I usually give.
Jeez.
Finally caught you live again. This whole situation is crazy pants.
It is crazy pants. Goddamn, Keitra. Sorry to hear that, but thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Hopefully everything goes through smoothly for you. Divorces are rarely not messy.
it was a little unfortunate too because I wasn't saying anything
I missed that.
Take it down. So it was a little proving like that I'm not evil. They were taking it down. So it was a little unfortunate too because I was.
Is he saying there that anything that came out and proved that he wasn't evil, they would remove that? I need to hear.
When I realized like, oh, anytime there's a post proving like that I'm not evil, they were taking it down. So
yeah, well, that's Reddit for you. Reddit needs their one-dimensional villains, and they can't have anything to detract from that because then they get confused.
it was a little unfortunate too because I wasn't saying anything, and then on Reddit, anytime something was proving that I wasn't evil or you know contrarian to what everyone was saying, they were suppressing it or censoring it. Not trying to sound extreme.
So you're saying it's like a echo chamber, which I mean, Reddit r//YouTube drama is.
Yeah, I know, but it's unfortunate when there's a post with 10,000.
You don't believe in divorce, Faye Winter, and hopefully you never will.
Upvotes claiming something false about you, and then everyone, then a couple people are like, "Wait, that's not true. Here's proof." And then they delete it every time. So then everyone's like, "Okay, well then that must be true," because they're also deleting the comments on that post that prove it's not. So then everyone.
This would be a wonderful opportunity to edit in some screen caps of this situation. Now, I don't like Reddit because, as Jimmy is explaining here, it is kind of a liberal hellscape. And they do censor, remove, and curate things to fit a narrative. For example, people trying to prove that Jimmy's not the villain that they're currently slinging shit at. Removing that. I would love to see evidence of that happening. Posts that were there. Not only there and aren't there now, but also were there with the proof he's saying being incredible and then also being removed.
Then it's just like, now, you know, again, I'm not trying to sound extreme, but it's just like, oh, you're censoring information. And then that paired with other YouTubers, when I would call them and share it with them, they'd just be like, well, I don't want to be Mr. Beast Glazer, so I don't really... You know, they wouldn't say it this direct, but they would just essentially say, like, I don't really care if it's true or not. I'm just going to say what other people say, like, sorry.
Interesting. And how far back do you think he was reaching up to people regarding this?
Do you have evidence of like people there being posts that existed and then didn't exist on Reddit that got?
Of course. Yeah, I can send you.
Yeah, if you'd send me.
It's in right. What's in the G drive? Look at that. Evidence of this is linked in the document below. Very good. All right.
Anything
you could throw it up on screen. I mean, that's not like a conspiracy theory. That's
of course. Yeah. Just, you know.
we can find quite a few.
I'm not that good at using Google. So I'll need you to help me with that. Yeah. So to circle back to the Quinn Emanuel investigation, the big thing on the internet, on Twitter specifically, was that you found yourself to be innocent. Of course, you paid a law firm to find yourself innocent.
I saw those memes. Yeah.
That was the big meme. How would you respond to the allegation that the investigation was biased from the start?
Yeah. So first off, to just set the foundation, I think a lot of people are saying, oh, of course, Jimmy did an internal investigation, found himself, they didn't find any wrongdoing, which is also not true, which I assume we'll go into that more later. They did find some wrongdoing, just not in regards to like the serious Ava allegation. So that's a, false truth. And then on top of that, it wasn't an internal investigation. It was an external investigation, which was clearly laid out in the things we showed.
Yeah, a third-party investigation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say it usually would be a third-party investigation if it was anything to do with compliance or regulation or anything regarding something that could be potentially a crime. I don't think no one would believe an internal report. Yeah, we didn't find any problems with ourselves. And if we did, man, that would be big problems. But luckily we didn't.
And so, I mean, it is a little bit of a, like, a lot of people I saw were saying, like, well, you paid them. And it's like, well, yeah, top tier lawyers and federal prosecutors don't work for free, so I have to pay them.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how to debunk that one. I mean, it just is what it is. But yeah, we hired Quinn Emanuel, which is one of the top law firms in the world. Like, I mean, it was very expensive, but I intentionally picked them because they have a reputation and they're not just going to.
Hearing Jimmy say the phrase, "it was very expensive," makes me nauseated trying to imagine the sum.
Destroy their entire business to be biased towards me, you know what I mean? And then it was led by a former federal prosecutor who did the whole thing. I mean, it was pretty intense. I mean, they did tons of interviews. I mean, transparent. They even like scanned my phone, dug through.
There's something really bugging me about his face, and I'm gonna. Do you know what? I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. And once I point it out, you'll never unsee it. One of his eyes is higher than the other. He's got the Bradley Cooper situation going on, just far less attractive. His right eye, our left, is higher than the other one.
Like they have messages I sent to my girlfriend, and I'm like, why is this even relevant? They're like, I mean, if you want a thorough one and you want us to like be confident in what we're saying, we need to see everything. Like they went pretty hardcore on it, which is why it ended up taking a couple of months. Because truthfully, when I started this process, I didn't realize like how intense it was. But I gave them the reins to everything, and yeah, it took longer than I thought. But I don't know. I mean, is there any like how else do I prove it besides? I mean, I think another thing that missing context people don't have is like, if they found anything illegal, they're obligated to report it to the police. Like
right.
this like that's how these things work when they do these investigations. It's not like they could be like,
his head is tilted to the. Maybe, I don't know.
Hey Jimmy, we found this illegal thing. We'll just sweep it on the rug.
But it's all right because you paid us.
Yeah, like so it's just in every way. I just don't think people understand. Like it's it was obviously Coin Emanuel. That's why we paid them, and it was pretty thorough. And
yeah. So I mean, those are two things that make sense, right? We just covered two back-to-back things that make sense. A, you waited a long time for the investigation, and B, you paid like a very reputable law firm, whatever, to investigate.
Yep.
Both of those things make sense logically from your perspective, but also optically from the outside looking in. For people who are just seeing the allegations, they're like, "Oh, this guy looks guilty."
Yeah,
he's building this big sort of law team, and he's not responding, and he's like it. So it's kind of bizarre and unfortunate because like it does make sense. Like from a logical perspective.
I mean, because there's two things I could do. I could do an internal investigation.
Yeah,
but that's dumb
great idea.
because I don't want to audit myself.
Let your mom do it.
Yeah, exactly. Let my mom do it, or I could do an external one. That's what we did. And again, it's like because I didn't have control over it. Obviously, if I did, I would have been like, bro, do this in 2 weeks so I can get this out there. Like I didn't want it to take months, but I mean that's part of an external investigation. You don't have control over it.
Now, would you consider? So you obviously regret the remaining silent. Would you consider that the third-party investigation as a whole, in looking back, would that have been? Would you say that's a mistake?
No, I just think I would push back on like, do I really have to be silent? Like, can I just like do this thing? Like go clap back on some of these things. But like some of these things, people were apparently talking to ex-employees or whatever, and so it just gets muddy because I really didn't want the integrity of the investigation to like be in question or anything. So I was like super paranoid where I was like, okay, this is what they said. I don't want to push back or anything. But yeah, obviously in hindsight, like. I mean, a lot of these things are just blatantly lies. Like if I just clap back instantly, people were just like, okay, cool, and moved on.
Would you consider making some details of the investigation that have yet to be seen public? Obviously, there's like a level of confidentiality that is required legally.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like, is there anything?
Well, that's the thing. Like, what we put out as much as we could, but I mean, obviously, they did dozens of interviews, including alleged people who were victims, and I mean. Like I said, my message to my girlfriend, like they.
What?
Could, but I mean, obviously, they did dozens of interviews, including alleged people who were victims, and I mean, like I said, my message to my girlfriend, like they gathered a lot. So,
is that a reference to the LaCoya situation? Is that the only reference?
I don't really think I can. I mean, there's a lot of sensitive data and information in there.
What about like a just to back up your claims to
the alleged victims? You said. I mean, the internal team's actions that we saw in the previous video that Tom did definitely did prove from several aspects that. Internally and externally, that there was a problem between LaCoya and a still unnamed assistant Was that not found? So this third party did... I'm sure we've missed something here. So a third party law firm, a third party company did an audit of the company to see if there was any misconduct, and they didn't find any or victims. But we know the LaQuoya shit happened. Is this why he moved LaQuoya to a different company? Because he wasn't there? I'll have to look at the dates and times of this. Do I have time?
But things on like how like they did it independently and they weren't biased. Like that side, I mean, I don't really know what people would want to see, but yeah, I mean, we can figure it out.
Just from what I know about like retainer contracts with lawyers and working with, you know, third-party investigations, things like, which I don't have any experience with anything that big, obviously.
Yeah.
But maintaining a level of compliance, like, I mean, if there's like a retainer contract, something showing that, you know, you shouldn't.
Now, this is where I'm ignorant. Like, I don't even know really what a retainer contract is. But
I mean, like
if there's any way I could, of course.
Like your third party saying, Jimmy, don't talk. Like, just basically giving credence to what you're saying, even more so. More evidence of what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, that would be something I'd have to like go talk to the team on. But, I mean,
you need a publicist, Jimmy. You need a publicist to help you with a lot of the confusion that you've been expressing.
That would help.
If that's something where people desperately want transparency, I mean, we can figure something out.
Yeah, I that would just help me. I'm not sure if people, honestly, I don't know if people would give a fuck.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know either.
I would,
because if people are like, we think Quinn Emanuel's biased, like even no matter what I show them, if they think a top tier law firm would willingly potentially tank their rep for me, like I don't know if there's anything that's ever
it's
to
foolish,
convince them.
Right?
Yeah,
it is foolish, and it makes sense. But once again, it's like optically, there is a very easy, lowest common denominator way to look at stuff.
Yeah. And also, what I would say to those people is I'm here, so it's not like I'm like maybe that argument would work if I just never did anything, but I'm here, so
in the lion's den.
Yeah.
Way after the videos were made, Jimmy. way after these videos were made. Yes, you are here. And I guess, you know what? No, I don't even think better late than never. It's either never or you immediately address it, right? Especially since it got to the size that it did. Kai, thank you so much for the 5 gifted. Forever Zenial. I feel like I've started seeing that word everywhere in the last 5 days. Claire Ann Jackson, Allison, Brassmaster 94, and Heavy Metal Crone. You guys were just very kindly gifted a membership to the channel. You can now watch these streams back. And now that you're an official member of the channel.
Yes. Control.
Kai, thank you so much. That's so sweet of you, dude. Thank you.
Old opposition towards me. Hey, also, I'd love to say, I don't know if he's posting this chronologically or whatnot, but I mean, he also did interview Dogpack multiple times. So
yes, he did. Not pressingly, I'm assuming. I can't believe you released a fucking video that is this long, Umbaville, with no chapters.
So it's because I could have done this with anyone, but I think this one makes sense because you've literally had the other side on here. So
gonna be one more. Oh, apparently not. There it is.
Yeah, and also to be clear as well, I have not signed like an NDA or
fuck.
I mean, there's genuinely nothing that's been signed. You haven't given me $1 million.
No. Hey, you should say I haven't given you a penny.
A penny. Okay, yeah.
You gave me $999.
Nothing. You've given me nothing, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually just it's kind of interesting. It really is interesting. This is a bold move. I would consider. It's quite a bold move.
And it's even more bold.
Is it? I would assume this was entirely fucking expected. This is a bold move? What? Responding to the insane amount of controversy? And the crimes? Kai, jeez! Thank you so much for 10 more! Faye, BJ, Raven, Dream Fear, Kristen, Samantha Rabbit, Cal Smith, Game Pass Girl, Chaotic Viking, Justin Ryder, and Alagaust. Congratulations, you guys were just very kindly gifted a membership to the channel by Kai. 15 members, Kai? Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys are now official members, which means you can go back and watch these streams in the official members playlist anytime you like. For the next 30 days. There is a shit ton of streams in there. So many streams. Every stream I've ever done for like the last 4 or 5 years or something like that. So enjoy. Kai, thank you so much. That is utterly amazing. Holy shit, thank you.
Because I'm never vulnerable on camera, and like
yeah, it's from a lot of perspectives. It is quite bold, and it's not like I haven't been critical. I feel like I've been fairly critical. I feel, and it, like talking to you, I feel bad. You know, obviously because I'm.
Don't feel bad. You had every right to be critical, Mr. Beast. Jimmy had yet to say a fucking thing. There was only detractors. And saying that him addressing all of these insane accusations is bold, it's not. It's expected. If anything, it was required.
There's different levels to how much you care about shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is. If there were a testament, it would be that would be a testament to this being being a meaningful source of information in this video. I feel like. I hope.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is definitely outside my comfort zone, but I think it's important.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so
You also didn't do it on your channel, dude. You did it on somebody else's channel. Not that bold.
So that's kind of past like the main initial allegations. We can move on to sort of corporate culture and HR practices. That's been a big sort of point that a lot of critics have hammered home.
Yep.
Yeah,
we're just getting right into the hard-hitting stuff.
Hell yeah. So there have been a lot of questions about your workplace culture, such as a lack of diversity or also HR problems.
Yeah.
What, if anything, have you done to address these concerns? How have you handled it since information came out, and how do you plan on handling it in the future?
Okay, so we'll start with the diversity one. If I forget the HR one, just bring it up when I finish that one. Diversity, I have seen a lot of people mention that about our company, which, I mean, that one's just not even true. Like, I mean, Feastables, for example, a couple months old, but like almost 70% of our company is women.
Is this seriously a fucking issue to talk about?
I mean, that one, just bring it up.
Are they seriously talking about what I think they're talking about?
Plan on handling it in the future.
Okay, so
since information came out, and how do you plan on handling it in the future?
Okay, so we'll start with the diversity one. If I forget the HR one, just bring it up when I finish that one. Diversity, I have seen a lot of people mention that about our company, which,
What the fuck? Why is this a problem?
I mean, that one's just not even true. Like, I mean, Feastables, for example, a couple months old, but like almost 70% of our company is women.
70% of your company is women? Right, so it's not diverse then, is it? If 70% of them is a single demographic. I hate this misappropriation of the word diverse. The word diverse now means not men. That's what it means now. Not white dudes. You could have an entire American company that is entirely one demographic, a single demographic, but as long as it's not white men, it's still considered diverse. What do you mean it's not diverse? It's a majority of a single demographic. What the actual fuck are you talking about? Oh, we have diversity, over 70% of women. So then it's not diverse, because it's 70%. What the fuck are you talking about? And how is diversity a fucking problem? You're running a company. I don't give a fucking shit what color you are or what you have between your legs. Are you good at the job? You're not? Then fuck off. What does it matter? What the fuck does it matter about diversity? If 100 white dudes apply for a company, which is likely considering the amount, the percentage of white people in these two nations, in the UK and the US, it's likely it's going to be a lot of those dudes. It is. You have a much wider pool of professionals to choose from. Of course, most of them are going to be white dudes. Of course there is. To have an entirely mixed, perfectly mixed, diverse roster, diverse employees would mean that you've actively denied some people who were right for the job in order to pick someone who is a different color. That's fucked up. Diversity does not help, okay? Forcing it does not help. If someone comes in and they've got both legs missing and they're mixed race and they speak 20 languages and they have every sexuality under the sun, but they also happen to be the best at the fucking job, then hire them. And if they come in with those attributes and they're not good at the job, then tell them to go away. We'll hire someone. What the fuck are we talking about diversity for? It's a business. You pick the best one, not the one that ticks ESG. This is fucking ridiculous.
And we actually, because we do dub studios around the world, now zooming out of festivals over to content, I mean, we actually have pretty crazy amount of diversity in our company. So because we have 400 people that work for me. It's not just me.
My entire response, if I was Mr. Beast, my entire response to this section of this fucking interview would have been like, get fucked. Let's get on to something that actually matters.
The boys on the camera, which is the 5 you see.
You have enough diversity in your company. I have enough people who know what they're doing. Next.
So that one, the few people have claimed that like they don't have any data to back it up. So I guess I probably should have.
Good Lord!
Boom bitch. Let's have something positive for a second here. Smiley face.
Oh, Lady Allura, thank you so much. You got a very genuine, good Lord. Good Lord. Lady Allura, thank you so much for that. That is absolutely mind-blowing. Thank you so much for that. That is so generous. Thank you so much. Well, you guys can deliberate as to what you want next, but Jesus. Lady Allura, thank you so much for that. That's so kind. Thank you.
Brought some data here. I don't want to just say percentages off the top of my head.
If you have, I'm sure you've got some kind of
but I really that one I just don't think it's rooted in anything. And then what was the second part?
HR, yeah. How have you handled HR problems? What HR problems? Have popped up?
So that one, I mean,
HR is a problem.
it's a little bit of a general question, but yeah, I mean, obviously, in general, a lot of people, I've seen a lot of things about, HR stuff in my company. And I think
that's so, regarding what?
One thing people don't have is just the context. Like, I think they think my channel is just like 5 people or 10 people or 20, whatever. Like, they don't realize the size of it. Like, specifically, because our videos have gotten so big, I mean, I'm going to give a little range because depending on how many people we've hired in the last month, it's somewhere between like 250 or 300 people work at my production company. So this is a big company. There's a lot of people. And then on top of that, when we do like bigger videos where we need to build big sets or whatever, sometimes we bring in hundreds of contractors. So there's a lot of people that work here. And like, I just want to blanketly say, like, companies at this size, like, you can't ever guarantee that every interaction everyone's going to have is always going to be positive with each other. You know what I mean? That's just impossible. So I want to start off by just saying that because I don't want people to watch this and then like a year from now, like hear some rumor and be like, oh, Jimmy didn't learn. Like any company of this size, there's always going to be some problem someone has. Now, having said that, I'm not trying to use it as like a blanket of like, and shield myself. There are 2 things that are like someone in my position who runs a company like this is in control of. One is, making sure we're not fostering anything inappropriate and, allowing it. And then 2, when it inevitably happens, because it just will in a company my size. And I'm trying to be transparent here. Like it's,
now you are, yes.
Like, how do you respond to it? And then and the making sure you're not fostering it. Part of Quinn Emanuel, when we had them do their investigation, is I had them look at every system in my company. I had them talk to my employees and see if there's anything they could bring to Quinn Emanuel's attention that they could make me aware of. And I think it was in the report, is like we established an anonymous hotline because Quinn Emanuel was showing me data that like sometimes people don't feel comfortable talking to HR or their boss. And like if you have
no way, people don't feel comfortable talking to HR. I couldn't possibly imagine why.
Anonymous hotline that goes to someone outside the company that can hear a complaint and then beam it into you without disclosing who it was. Like you'll get more honest feedback, because there's
let's jump to stuff. Let's jump. Delaware. HR problems. Mom being head of HR department. No doesn't mean no policy.
The no doesn't mean no policy
Oh, gosh,
that was
yeah.
criticized. That was crazy. I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, you're answering for me. Let me answer.
Hold on. It was criticized, especially by Soggy recently, of having been taken out of context. Can you explain what the no doesn't mean no policy
Yes.
was and why it was in the?
Yes. So, yeah. So it's funny, even the word like policy, it's like, so when we started hiring more people, I wrote this little, I almost like advice book just for a lot of employees because I wasn't able to talk with people as much as I was early on. And one part of it that people, when this thing got leaked, and I wrote it with some other people in my company, it wasn't just me, but when this got leaked, there's a section that said no does not mean no, and then they just like cropped that out and they're like, look, this is proof Jimmy's immoral and evil, when obviously, like you were saying, if you read the context below, it makes sense. The gist of why we had a section that said no does not mean no is because we do, I don't know if anyone's ever seen our videos, crazy things that have never been done before, right? No one's ever, on YouTube at least, buried themselves alive for 7 days. No one like tries to dangle an obstacle course from cranes. And it's like, the problem I kept running into early on when I was hiring people is I'd be like, hey, I want to do this. And then they would go call someone. So like, let's say the obstacle course in the sky where we had like this obstacle courses that Mac did, held up by these cranes, weighed like 100,000 pounds or whatever. Like they would call crane companies and they'd be like, no. And then they'd be like, okay, hang up. And they'd come to me and they'd go, Jimmy, they said, no, we can't do it. The video's not possible. And it's like, okay, well, of course they're going to say no because everything we do has never been done before. But like, ask them why. And like, obviously, if they don't be rude, but if they say no, just try to understand why, right? And a lot of times you'll have an instance where like, well, we can't get all the cranes at one time because we're renting them out. And it's like, okay, perfect. We respect that. But can I offer something before you actually hard say no? What if we went to the 2 or 3 other clients that day that were renting the cranes, we paid them 5 times the amount of money they paid to rent those cranes to just, rent them a week later. And let's just see. And then the company would usually be like, oh, you would do that? It's like, yeah, like,
Wow, context really is like paramount, isn't it? Context really is key. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable how far someone ran with that. I'm more interested in the CGI. It runs for 6 minutes. 13.
There have been claims that you use some CGI in your videos, that is computer-generated imagery. Do you think the use of CGI can undermine the credibility or authenticity of the content that you're making? And if so, why do you choose to use it?
Good question. And yes, I do think rampant use of CGI can undermine it. And I try to do my best to be transparent. Did you ever see So Crispy's video where they showed the behind the scenes of our Squid Game video?
I did, yes.
Yeah, so we've done that. We've done lots of BTS videos on them, and we've done other BTS videos. So I try to show it transparently, but let me think about it. I mean, honestly, the truth is like, obviously there are channels like Corridor Digital and stuff like that, but can you really think of any like, entertainment channels like mine that really do this, like even have the budgets to kind of do this kind of stuff? It's something I've always thought a lot about because like we're really pushing boundaries and like I want to like keep leveling things up, and I think that's a cool way to do it. But it's not like there's some like playbook on how to like incorporate it, right? Because no one else really does it. Mm-hmm. Like something I was thinking about is like also we rarely use it. Like I mean maybe like 0.1% of my shots.
Provided a statement in regard to this information in the document below.
Like if we have like a background that like doesn't look too cool, like it's just like black, but it looks a little off, we'll just like darken it out in post. Like that's like majority of what we do, or sometimes we'll extend a set. But I was thinking like when we do, because we pour millions of dollars into these videos. We build massive sets. Like we go through so much links to make these huge videos. And the last thing I want is people to be like questioning whether or not things are CGI. I mean, like the sets we build are fucking crazy, man. Like it's wild. Like you should come see the like
supplemental CGI is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't care about that. That's fine. You're selling an image here. It's a corporation. I understand that. However,
There was an allegation that you used CGI to create the impression that you guys built a hospital, part of a hospital, in order to deceive viewers or manipulate them into believing that you did more than you actually did.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. Honestly, truthful, dumb mistake.
All right. Okay. I was literally about to say, like, he's going to have to give us an admittance somewhere so that people can be like, okay, no, he is being transparent. He is saying when he fucked up. This is interesting. This has been confirmed then. I mean, it's not illegal, but yeah, let's see where he goes with this.
At the start of one of our Beast Philanthropy videos, they were trying to show what this like building looked like in the past. And in the past, that hospital wasn't there. So they removed it in the editing. Which and this is just like a small part of this isn't even like the point of the video was that we built this hospital or whatever. There was just a shot at the beginning, but some people saw that and like thought we did build it, which is not the intention. And so it's just a dumb mistake. Like trust me, when I saw that, I talked to the editors. I was like, come on, like, I have 100 editors and obviously we have a bunch of different channels and things like that. So it's hard for me to like speak with all of them, but it was just truthfully a silly mistake.
Oh my god, to have an editing team. That'd be so amazing.
But we never said we built that hospital or anything, but I could see how some people might perceive that we were trying to like...
No, I've not seen this video, so I don't know if there is the phrase, we built this hospital.
Give off that we were. And it's a little unfortunate because Beast Philanthropy, my YouTube channel, how do I say this where it's like I'm not trying to... Like, is literally owned by a 501c3. Like, it's a YouTube channel that is a nonprofit, which is crazy. Like, as far as I know, that's the only one. And Beast Philanthropy does so much good. And like that, what's the only reason people, this is what's funny, because like to the people like trying to call me evil and say we fake philanthropy, the only reason anyone even knows any of this is because we actually did a behind the scenes video on that video. So like clearly I wasn't aware of this because we did BTS and we were the ones who revealed this information.
Yeah, almost, yeah. I guess. As if they weren't even aware that they were trying to hide it, right? So that does hold weight.
You know what I mean? So like, if we were trying to hide things, like we wouldn't have done BTS on that video. That's how people got this information.
Yeah.
So it's just like a little mistake, but it's sad because now people are using that to point at our Beast Philanthropy channel, which does a lot. I mean, it would just scroll through the videos. I mean, whether we're building schools in Africa or, giving electricity to remote villages, or we're giving clothes to people who don't have it, or
yeah, all that stuff actually happened. I understand what he's saying. See, the mob does kind of open up now. Not that Jimmy's in any way innocent, because there's a lot of stuff he doesn't touch on. Like, for example, apparently LaKoya is never mentioned in this fucking video. But people really do, like, they fabricate their own narrative and then they really run with it. And then once it drips down so far, people believe that it's come from up top and it's been confirmed. And they're like, well, this happened. That's for real. Can you believe this happened? Can you believe this? And then it gets spread around instead of just being an accusation. It's like, no, this is gospel. This is truth that's actually happened. And it's like, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. And trust me, I've made the mistake of not immediately addressing things before it snowballed to something so big, because it's really difficult as a YouTuber, because sometimes, especially, in fact, almost exclusively, as you're getting big, suddenly people remember things they didn't like about you, personally. And almost as if, and for some reason, completely separate from the fact that you're rising, they feel like they need to express that on the internet for some reason. But a lot of these people coming forward and just be like, here's the truth about this, you YouTuber. It is just bitterness, and it is just jealousy, and it is just them being shit. It is just them trying to get a 15 minutes. But sometimes, and most of the time people forget about them, right? They don't do anything. Nothing comes of it. Sometimes, though, your image does falter, or sometimes someone will come forward and they will be like, I know the person, and here's the inside skip. And that stuff has the potential to not only immediately blow up, but then to not replicate, what's the word? Propagate and become worse and multiply. And then suddenly what was originally a completely baseless accusation with no proof or evidence is now common knowledge that people believe to be a fact. So if you wait too long and you come out and say none of that happened, people are far less likely to believe it. I know now, obviously, like, to come out immediately and be like, they're talking shit is the proof. So it's the same with Mr. Beast. I think in this case, it's like a lot of people have tried to detract and a lot of people have tried to disparage him. And for the most part, it doesn't go anywhere because there's almost no evidence and he's just so fucking ginormous. It'll never get that big. But in this case, it did. And when you see it getting big, you get in there and you're like, okay, this didn't happen. That's not true. Here's the proof. You all, please, all of you, calm the fuck down.
Feeding people. I mean, it does a lot of really good projects. Now, truthfully, that channel is struggling to get brand deals because of all the slander on it, because everyone, has convinced advertisers that the videos are fake and that it doesn't actually do philanthropy.
See, here's the thing about the viewer mob, is what I like to call it. The viewer mob, for the most part, they're viewers. They don't have the power and the control that the people they're watching do have. So what they do is they overcompensate, and whenever they feel like a flicker of influence over your life, over your influence, over your position of being an influencer, being famous, it goes to their head immediately, and then they act like big tits. They had like fucking King Big Dick walking around like, fucking, here's another thing about this YouTuber. And they really do ham it up and milk it for all it's worth, because it's not affecting them, right? It's not ruining their life. It's not lying about them. They're lying about someone else. Someone else is the victim here. They're getting all the benefits of this, so they don't give a shit. They have no remorse at all. And that's the problem. Once one is brave enough to make a video, then another one suddenly plucks up the courage to make their video, because now it's accepted that you're allowed to start dunking on someone. And the viewer mob loves this shit. They love enjoying these brief moments of fake control that they have occasionally. And very rarely is it ever true. A lot of the times, and it was the same with Dream as well. A lot of shit about Dream was completely fucking made up. And because he just ignored it, they were just like, all right, he's not saying anything. Let's say more. Let's come up with some more shit. And that's what they did. Dream ignored it. They were like, oh, he's not going to correct us. He's not going to stop us. Sweet. Let's say more stupid, made up shit. Let's skew the narrative even further so that we're even more in control. We're the big boys now, lads. Haha, yeah. And it's really fucking pathetic, because when Dream came out and switched everything up on them, they've been completely and utterly silent since. Seriously, like, whenever you get into positions like Mr. Beast, or like pretty much any other YouTuber, like, once you get big, people will want a piece of you, whether that's being your friend or making shit up about you to get views on their shitty little video. People all want a piece of you. They all do. And then when there's nothing left, suddenly they don't make videos about you anymore. Suddenly you're not so bad, or at least bad enough to make videos about. But that's how this works. So I don't like Jimmy, but I also understand exactly how the viewer mob operates and the shit that gets their dicks hard.
And it's like, it does. And just like one little editing mistake on one of dozens of videos. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate because it's actually having a pretty severe impact on the charity and its image. And like, I don't know, just unfortunate.
You think the impact is not obviously just the CGI hospital edit, but just the entire situation in general?
No, I mean, of course, the entire general situation, but no, after that hospital thing, a lot of people made videos saying Beast Philanthropy is fake and saying we fake our philanthropy, and it's specifically attacking it. And then, like that whole 100% of the revenue on the charity, on the channel is what we use to fund the charity. And that like spooked off a lot of people because they're like, oh, so this charity is not authentic. Because like obviously people don't want to work with a charity that's not legit, which Beast Philanthropy is as legit as it gets. Just one little editing mistake.
Yeah, it was literally just one editing mistake. I get that. I get that. I mean, he's probably going to go on about it, but let's have a look and see if there's anything here. Oh, answers only. Fucking hell, look at that. Soggy cereal. Let's see what is his response.
I mean, I interpret it as him just trying to be honest with his audience and just expressing how he feels. And I think, you know,
he definitely was not being honest with his audience.
Obviously, he probably, in his head, if he was even being more honest, he'd probably be like, Jimmy, why don't you just say these things? Why am I saying it? You know, and I think, obviously, now that I'm here and doing this, that will alleviate it. But I could see how it feels. Like, obviously, I saw that video and it, you know, disproved. I mean, there are some things in there I don't agree with, and he does go pretty hard on me, so which people seem to forget. But there are a lot of things in there that he disproved, and
well, for the most part, it seemed like you forgot that, Jimmy, actually. A lot.
Yeah, I mean, I got excited and shot it over to a bunch of creators who covered the false information, and was just like, look, you know, I could see how, you know, that looks like I'm hiding behind it. Luckily, I'm here talking to you, so
Yeah.
I don't think that will be a problem anymore. But obviously, you know, he's not, when he tweeted that, he, you know, doesn't know we were doing this, doesn't know this is coming out. I mean, he might now. I don't, you know, you talk to him, but yeah. So like, I don't blame him. You know what I mean? It's a reasonable thing. Like, I think if I were to read a little between lines, he's just saying like, I don't want to be a shield. Jimmy, say something. You know what I mean? Like, actually go address things and like.
Yeah, because he's
Yeah, but he was also saying, Jimmy, what the fuck, man? Why are you just... It definitely... I mean, yeah, he didn't know this video was coming out. He was fucking there, dude. Jim, he was there talking to your team. You didn't want to mention at any point that you were going to be doing this interview? The guy... He just stabbed Soggy in the fucking ass. Like, he didn't tell him anything. He didn't say this was happening. He didn't say this was coming out. It would have stopped Soggy tweeting like, it's disgusting that Mr. Beast is using my video and sending it to people. Like, it would have stopped him saying stuff like that. It would have been like, Mr. Beast is going to be following up with his statement soon. You know, that's probably, you know, that's why he... But for the most part, the reason why there was no information about this interview coming out, again, using Umperville, super bizarre choice. I mean, corporately speaking, not so much. I mean, a really interesting interview would have been, yeah, Muda or CoffeeZilla. I think CoffeeZilla would have ripped Jimmy to fucking pieces, hence why they didn't choose him. So, Oompa really was just there to ask the not the hard-hitting questions, more just questions. And I feel like CoffeeZilla really could have zeroed in on some of the more pertinent facts or pertinent information people wanted to know. Because Oompa's sort of just sitting here and letting Mr. Beast guide the conversation merely by answering the questions after he's asked them, and that's it. Oompa, for the most part that I've seen, is not asking for clarification further on any points that are being made. It's just kind of like, I'm gonna have my line of dialogue, and then you're gonna talk for 5 minutes, and when you're done, I'll ask you the next question. So, I would have liked to have had more of a debate, but again, the publicist situation that I was talking about, the PR team that Mr. Beast most likely has, probably was like, go with Oompaville. He's not going to ruffle any feathers. Talk about the parts that you want to talk about. But for the most part, I've seen Jimmy kind of just covering his ass pretty well. Relatively well, regarding some of the things that were said, but in terms of the things that are not being said, the LaCoya situation, we very briefly brushed over the Ava Tyson stuff. The Ava Chris Tyson. Let's just say Chris Tyson. The name is still there. And the Delaware stuff, because he's not gone that far back. He went, yeah, his name was Delaware before we hired him. But it's like, yeah, but did you touch on the fact that Chris Tyson already knew him as an RSO? Did you? Were these covered? When I go back and edit this, I'm gonna have to go back and be like, was this covered? Because I feel like he very quickly brushed over like when the Crystal Ice and stuff came out, that was dealt with. But I'm like, no, let's go back to that, because Dogpack's accusation was that you knew, right? That was almost his tagline for his movie series about you, was just you knew. I would have been like, so did you recognize Shadman's work up on the wall when you were staring at it, Jim?
He's really not defending you. He's just disproving Dogpack. Like that.
Exactly.
That's the primary kind of driver, or that's how I interpreted his video. I was like, oh, this is.
I mean, he was doing both, but he was going after Dog. I didn't like how Soggy was trying to frame certain things as if it was a gotcha. Like, yeah, Dogpack has other reasons, other motives to want to do this to Mr. Beast's team, and it's just like, okay, but you are glazing over the fact that some of the stuff that Dogpack said actually is true, and yes, he might be pissed at this team for firing him, but he is also bringing up stuff they actually did do.
This is pretty balanced. I like him. He's a cool dude. So
yeah, he didn't go with the grain and disproved a lot of.
If I had as much money as Mr. Beast, I'd be sitting even more obnoxiously. Trust me. I'd be lying down. If I made as much money as Mr. Beast, I would be lying down in every interview with someone lowering grapes into my fucking mouth.
Things. But yeah, also went kind of hard on me too. So, but yeah.
He's not a big fan of Lunchley.
He's not. That's one thing for sure. He does not like Lunchley.
I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody likes Lunchley. Or any of the people that pushed it. I don't think anybody has any love for anything Lunchley related ever. Jimmy's face there. That says a lot. What did you just say about my Lunchley? Jake Weddle and war crimes. All right, let's have a look here. Using charity for content. That doesn't bother me at all. It's easily explainable. Hell, I could explain that to you. Dogpack saying Mr. Beast is the Antichrist. Do you know what? Illegal lotteries. Let's go there.
Stuff. So Dawson claimed that you ran multiple illegal lotteries, and in Soggy's video, he sort of, I think, disproved 2, and then 1 he still believes was an illegal lottery.
The first one.
Do you believe that you ran an illegal lottery? Did you believe at the time? What was your mindset? Did you check with the FCC? Was there any compliance, any steps taken to prevent this? What is your just perspective on that?
Yes. So I don't think we did. I have people looking into it and like trying
Oh, not a good response there, Jimmy.
to pull the footage and figure it out. He disproved the 2, which I mean, those were crazy. I don't want to just like speculate. I have a team looking into it. I don't think we did though. But regardless, just to be truthful, if people want a refund or think for whatever reason like we did something wrong, like I'll send you a link that you can just put in the description where they can get a refund. Maybe just throw it on the screen here.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, at the moment, that's all I really have to say. Maybe I could do a follow up in the future. I'm trying to, dig up all the footage from that live stream.
I feel like that could have been done proactively. Anyone else feel like that could have been done proactively? That was a pretty big talking point in both Dogpack and Soggy, in which case they both said that he was guilty of lying, of doing illegal lotteries. That's not the best response. My team's looking into it. Right. And if they do find it was illegal, is it also the team's fault for... It's hard to say. We'll have to wait and see what the team says.
This was like many years ago. Like this isn't like something I did 3 months ago.
Yeah. COVID. It was 2020, right?
I don't remember.
I think the first one, the questionable one that Soggy had in his video was in 2020. I think it was in August 2020.
And I just don't have the footage from him, so I'm looking him up.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think.
Yes, looking through the archive, the government database. It's just on the YouTube channel. You can bring it up. YouTube saves them forever unless you actively delete them. That seems like a very easy thing to clarify. What's going on here? I mean, what are the implications of admitting to doing an illegal lottery years later?
I think at the very least, if people felt misled or whatever, or if it
100% request a refund.
definitely.
I mean, we do that anyways, like on our site.
I mean, yeah, like giving people refunds, that's super good. But what is the legal chain here? Right? Because, like, isn't this also some sort of slight to the IRS? Wouldn't they want to know about this? If it was, like, you can give people refunds, but you offended the IRS, man. With that, surely there must be something going on there. If it's an illegal lottery, doesn't that void the lottery terms?
People want refunds, we give it to them. But for this specifically, we can give you a URL, throw it right here. I mean, I have no idea what it'll be, and yeah, just send us your order code. Really no big deal.
Right, yeah, lottery refunds. Again, there has to be some sort of lawful punishment for that crime, right? It's illegal. Ugh. Even the Joker doesn't fool with the IRS. That is true, yeah. Ugh. Yeah, it's illegal, not frowned upon. There's some other really interesting things here. Illegal audit, harassment.
The third-party investigation confirmed isolated incidents of harassment.
Okay, here we go. The investigation produced the following significant findings. Allegations of sexual misconduct, e.g. pedophilia, grooming, child pornography between company employees and minors are without basis. Oh, so nothing was found. The allegations were soundly rejected, including by alleged victims. So even the alleged all right, so they even interviewed the people who were allegedly victims, and the victims themselves were like, nope, nothing happened. Ronald, yeah, Relay Dialuro kicked the shit out of that. If you guys can come up with like another small one, I'll put that in there. Allegations of company knowingly employing individuals with proclivities or histories towards illegal or questionable legal conduct are similarly without basis. Here too, the allegations were uniformly rejected. Several isolated incidents of workplace harassment and misconduct were identified during the investigation. The company was informed of such conduct and took swift and appropriate actions to address the incidents, including, where necessary, disciplining or letting go of implicated individuals. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Isn't that last paragraph most likely referring to LaCoya? He wasn't disciplined. He was relocated. And then rehired. What? I'm gonna have to hear more about this. What's Jim Bob gonna say about this?
How were these incidents addressed, and what systemic changes did you implement from after the investigation to prevent things like this from ever happening again? I'm assuming it's going to piggyback directly off the
what we
HR
talked about before.
improvements. Yeah,
100%. I mean, agreed. Like we talked about before, I have hundreds of employees, and when we brought the outside third party in, and I was like, hey, talk to whoever you need to, get an honest pulse of how some people are feeling. There were some things that people hadn't made us aware of that they felt more comfortable talking to Quinn Emanuel on, which is
this dude's wearing fucking joggers. This is so bizarre. I'd be wearing All Saints probably. No, do you know what? If I was this rich, I'd be wearing Rick's. I'd be wearing Rick Owens' entire outfit.
obviously ultimately why we ended up, doing the anonymous hotline and that kind of stuff. And what you asked, what did we do? How did we handle it? Like I said before, it's just whatever they told me. If they told me like I need to fire someone, we fired them. Like I mean, it's not like.
I mean, if the company is as big as Jimmy says, which I'm sure is easily confirmable online, then yeah, Jimmy will not be personally involved with every single employee and every single incident. But I just want to see where they go with this.
Like, I don't want to be the arbiter of truth. I want people who are professional in these things to, get the information, make sure they have all the facts, and I want them to tell me what to do, right? Because obviously I work with these people, and so I could have some form of bias or whatever, or maybe I like this person better, and so I like to stay away from that kind of stuff. And so I just did whatever they told me to do, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. How did you feel when you found out that a third-party investigation concluded that there were incidents of harassment in your business?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I was like, well, how can we, like we talked about before, and so I started educating myself, and I've been bringing in new leaders and people who have worked in bigger companies, and I was just like, help me make sure like this kind of stuff doesn't happen and educate me on these kinds of things. Like, again, like this company is growing so fast. Like I keep saying the number 400 just so people realize this isn't just 10 employees making YouTube videos like it was for me 5 years ago. And so my first instinct was just like, educate me. Who do I bring in? How do we solve these things? And like I said before, it dials down to two things: making sure you're not fostering it, and then when it does happen, making sure you respond appropriately, and just like trying to learn everything I can in those two areas, and just find the best people in the world in those two areas to just review everything and make sure we're doing it correctly.
Dude, people were fired. How many people were disciplined, fired? Was it more? Like, how did that feel, knowing that there was like an amount of people that had to be disciplined, terminated, whatever, as a result of an investigation? It's kind of things just happening basically under your nose, due to a lack of business acumen or care or whatever word you would want to use.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Well, I mean, like, I haven't even met all the people that work for me, because it's so big and we have people all around the world and things like that, just for context. 'Cause I don't want people to think like, oh, these are people I'm just working with every single day and are just oblivious. But yeah, I mean, it just felt like I need to improve. I need to learn more, and just I want to fix these things, So, I mean, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Word you would want to use.
Yeah.
How did it feel? Basically under your nose. As a result of an investigation, it's kind of things just happening basically under your nose, due to a lack of business acumen or care or whatever word you would want to use.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Well, I mean, like, I haven't even met all the people that work for me, because it's so big and we have people all around the world and things like that.
I've not even met all the harassers.
Just for context, 'cause I don't want people to think like, oh, these are people I'm just working with every single day and are just oblivious. But yeah, I mean, it just felt like I need to improve. I need to learn more, and just I want to fix these things, So,
I mean, ultimately, no one in a job interview is going to be like, yeah, I'm prone to harassing women, or in this case, men. So, there are going to be cases where Jimmy he's not the one hiring people. He probably has a recruitment agency working for him, or he has a recruitment department. I mean, that much is true. We heard Dogpack being fired by the internal team, and Jimmy was not there. So, I think doing an audit and finding that there were confirmations of harassment. Yeah. The best you can really do is fire them, not move them to a different company. I mean, whether or not Jimmy had this is the question I'd be asking. I'd be like, okay, so the harassment we're talking about, LaCoya, did you have any involvement in making sure he was still employed? Or,
I mean, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
I'm a problem solver. When there's problems, like my default reaction, like instinct is, how do we solve it? And that's, what we've been obsessing over. And I feel like,
hey, he's a truth seeker.
We've made a lot of progress, to be honest.
Cool.
Oompa's face just like, Kind of want to push a little bit further. All right, let's see what else we got here. Are you going to sue Dogpack?
Are you going to sue Dogpack?
Well, you know, there's tons of examples of him intentionally manipulating things to not be true.
That, yeah, I mean, if Mr. Beast, if Jimmy wanted to sue Dogpack, he absolutely has the grounds to do so. Whether or not he's gonna. I feel like he should, to be honest. Honestly, I feel like he should sue Dogpack to make a fucking example. He absolutely should. Make an example of this dude who went absolutely fucking batshit insane.
And posting it online. Tons and tons and tons of that. Soggy has basically an hour and 27-minute video, and an hour of it is just flat out proving manipulation and lies.
But then you can also sue Soggy. Soggy tweeted, Mr. Beast has confirmed done illegal things. Which is not true. It would show bias to sue Dogpack and then not sue Soggy as well.
Caused a lot of harm to my businesses. I mean, I've literally had people pull out millions of dollars and then tell me it was directly because of his video. And don't worry, I instantly was like, can you send that in writing? So, you know, if I win a case or
Ooh, he is compiling information.
or anything, I can directly point damages. No reason why. And so, I mean, it's just unfortunate. Like, I don't want to be put in this situation, but probably gonna have to. I mean, it's just
Dogpack must be shitting his fucking cop uniform, dude. I can just imagine Dogpack, like, sitting there in his little cop outfit, watching the video, like, holding his little fucking plastic baton, taking his little hat off. Oh, God. No. Oh, my God, dude. What do you think was going to happen running rampant with, like, such baseless accusations? This is why I was saying you focus on the stuff that's actually true. The speculation or the padding for your video or the sensationalism that you're looking for the sake of your fucking grandkids' financial security, drop it. But yeah, I mean, if I was Jimmy, I'd sue the living fuck out of content cock Dogpack. I would. I'd make an exact, like, if I had the money, I'd sue the living shit out of Dogpack. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's legal damages, right? That's financial damages. Compensation for financial losses due to the slander. You'd have to make an example like, hey kids, don't fucking think about doing this again, okay? Now, that's not to deter people from coming out and exposing things that are true. You can't sue for that. It's impossible. If you have proof and you are able to expose it and it did happen and an investigation is carried out and they find it, then yeah, you know, that's completely fine. But the fact is that it will deter kids from thinking they can get a short, you know, a quick month of super fame on YouTube by just making shit up. But God, man, I really do wish I had Jimmy's money. There's a bunch of people I would have loved to have sued. Because I have all the proof, right? It's just like, legal fees are so expensive. That shit costs so much money.
I mean, what do you do if someone's just spreading misinformation about you and, you know, just causing harm to your business and like getting it to the point where you might have to potentially fire people because it's costing you so much revenue? It's like, it's not fair to the people in my companies. You know what I mean? It's just sad, you know. It's not a thing I take joy in, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Okay, so
Oh my God, Umberville. Fucking switch on, dude. Come on.
yes.
They're
Plan?
not done drafting it up, but once they're done, more than likely, yeah.
I felt scared for Dogpack there. Dogpack's fucked, man. You're effed, bro. He's gonna have to sell that fucking cop outfit. He's gonna have to sell it. Please excuse the urine. It wouldn't wash out. I was just so scared. Please buy it. He's gonna have to sell his YouTube channel. Dogpack being sued is probably the title of this fucking video. Dogpack's fucked. Dogpack is dog fucked. Oh my God. Well, that's one for the ages. I can't imagine we're gonna hear anything else out of Dogpack soon, anytime soon. Oh, do you know what? No, do you know what? We might get his we're gonna get his feeble pleading to Mr. Beast part 2, because if you remember correctly, Soggy's video had audio clips of Dogpack pleading for his job, begging for it. Please, I just want to live. I just want to work here. You don't even have to pay me. Just allow me to work here, please. Please, Daddy. And I feel like we're probably going to get the same thing now in a video response to this. Dogpack still in his little cop outfit. It's so funny to me. It's so cringe. I would know cringe. I look like this in my 30s. So, and he's just in a video just like, I'm sorry, Jimmy. I didn't mean anything I said. Just don't sue me, okay? I'm really sorry. I won't be able to feed my cat anymore. Oops. I mean, if there's anything Jimmy does here, or it's said, I absolutely make a goddamn example out of Dogpack. 100%. If Jimmy's there and he's managed to collaborate with legal professionals to compile evidence for a case to prove the Dogpack is full of shit, then 100% do it. Absolutely. Let's just continue on with this.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's
I mean, every law firm I've talked to, they're like, this would be the easiest win they've ever seen in their life.
Absolutely, it would be the easiest win you have, because not only do you have a shit ton of evidence, you've also got a shit ton of money, and you have American lawyers, dude. American lawyers are amazing. British ones, not so fucking much.
I mean, it's like crazy. I had one tell me like you could chop up all the evidence into like 3, sue 3 separate times, and win all 3 cases because you'd have enough for each. Like one person I was talking to, he's won like
Yeah, you could have slander, defamation, and legal damages, financial damages, right?
67 out of his last 70 cases, and he's like, this would be literally the easiest case I've ever done. Like it's because there's just so much blatant, misinformation and lies spread. Like, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, just go watch Soggy's video. Go look at his Twitter where he's redacted multiple ones of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be in this position.
Now, what do you think? Do you think that there could be any sense of regret from that? I mean, optically, once again, there's a lot of things working against you on a constant basis because you're the biggest person in the world on YouTube and social media, and you're just crammed down people's throats algorithmically. Like if you decide to sue this man, even if he deserves it or not,
He deserves
which is
it.
like obviously up to you.
Well, I just want the slander and disinformation to
If they can be sued, then they deserve it, man. If you think about it. It's the same situation with Twitch, right? It's like, well, the ads are being removed because of what we've been saying. How dare you point it out? It's like, yeah, well, if you weren't saying what you were fucking saying on Twitch, it wouldn't have been removed.
stop. It would be
Right.
the bigger reason. But you're saying, when am I worried about how that would affect me PR-wise?
Yeah, just like what do you think?
I mean, I'm right now, I'm getting canceled because
Right. Yeah, exactly. PR wise, it wouldn't be worse. He's already, like, he's not suing anybody, and he's already getting absolutely trashed by everyone online.
Because
Of
I'm
course.
not suing him, because they're saying, well, you know, Jimmy's not suing him, therefore there was truth, or Jimmy would be suing him. So at this point, I'm so big, it's kind of, most scenarios are like, either way, like, there's a vast negative for me. You know, people are like, well, he's not going to sue because he's worried about discovery. No, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Why do I care? I'm here. This is discovery. You know what I mean? And that they just, no matter what I do at this point, like, there's just a large group of people that are just going to be unhappy. And that's just like a reality I have to be okay with.
Yeah, but this is a reality that they fabricated. They are responsible for this reality because they're the ones who instigated, they litigated this situation. They started it. And you have the responsibility to end it. Jim's. I think he does. I would. If I had the money.
With, to be honest, as long as
There's a bunch of people I wish I could have taken to court, man. It's just like, it costs like fucking $1,000 per session, per letter, per response, per court date. And every time they dip out because they don't want to show up, which happened, it costs money. Both of you money. Like, here's a court date. All right, I'll be there. Yeah, I get there. They didn't bother to show up. That cost both of us money.
I agree with what I'm doing and I believe in what I'm doing. I mean, that's all I really can do at this point.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, you know, it's probably a minority. Well, it's definitely a minority of people just in general who actually care about this type of shit. But like, you know, the suing, the silencing critics, for example, something very similar has happened. Well, not that similar, but something is happening to CoffeeZilla, who we'll talk about here in a minute as well. He's being sued. And that just, you know, to someone like me, I care about like rationality and understanding and people being big and, you know, communicate.
100%. And I would just say, go watch the Sagi video.
Yeah.
Look at all the blatant
Of course,
manipulation and lies. And this isn't me trying to silence them. This is me trying to, like,
Yeah, and
No, you're not silencing a critic. It's not someone being critical of you. It's someone trying to completely deplatform you based on shit that doesn't exist.
this is like borderline. I owe it to my employees because,
It's-
like,
yeah.
I can't look at someone in the eyes and go, sorry, you're getting laid off because he decided to keep spreading misinformation about us.
You owe it to the safety of your company brand. You know, if you don't sue this dude, people will think that they can just, you know, be the talk of the town on YouTube for a couple of months while they shit on you. And then when they get their cash, they fuck off. And then everyone just takes what they said as true because you didn't respond. No, you should absolutely sue this dude.
You know, go complain to Dogpack.
yeah, I understand. It's like there's a
This is bigger than me. I have a lot of people,
Right.
a lot of families, a lot of kids that, you know, work or are under, you know, the people I employ that work for me. Like, it's not just me. Like, I can't.
Of course.
So
And it's also, you know, just to finish what I was going to say, it is not silencing a critic. It is preventing the spread of misinformation.
Bingo! I like Devil May Cry 3. It's unbelievable I have not got a Devil May Cry tattoo yet. I do have a devil tattoo, but not a Devil May Cry tattoo.
Proven misinformation.
Exactly.
So I think being able to make that distinction, though, is very important. And that's something to consider. It's like how do you stop the misinformation, the slander, but also don't prevent people from caring about things ethically going forward and feeling willing to criticize someone like you.
I mean, Jimmy's right. He does owe it to his company, but he also owes it to the people that he potentially could not help because of financial reasons. Financial issues caused by this Dogpack dude, you know? Because there is a high level of philanthropy here. And if Jimmy has had millions of dollars worth of sponsors or investors pull out because of the misinformation, because of what's been going around, then that's people he couldn't have helped. But potentially. So it's there are so many layers to which Dogpack can be absolutely dragged backwards through a hedge. I know, I should have a Devil May Cry 3 I should get a Jester. Which is a very unimaginative name. My name is Jester. So I write. So everything in this game has a super unique Latin/Greek demonology name, and you're just Jester. Yeah, you're not super bizarre, super suspicious at all.
Even though, obviously, this situation, it appears quite clear-cut that this is misinformation. And truth is obviously the most important thing, but also there's like a sort of a slippery slope of silencing critics and censorship and all this crazy stuff, and freedom of speech is so important, but obviously lies and slander are not protected by the freedom of speech. So it's just a big, giant optical pill to swallow and consider, I feel like.
Agreed.
And I would be really interested to see your thoughts going.
None of which is the responsibility of Jimmy. I'm sorry, it's not. Like, yeah, it is, you know, in a publicity sense, in a PR sense, yeah, it's a lot. It is. But would Jimmy be suing if Dogpack had not said these things in a video? No, he wouldn't be. Jimmy, it's a response. It's a response. It's consequences and actions and consequences, man. Cause and effect.
Going forward, you know, in your decisions that you decide to make, I would love to stay in the loop on that because, you know, in the very beginning, I thought Soggy had good intentions.
Or Dog.
Dogpack. Exactly. Yeah, Soggy does have good intentions, in my opinion.
Oh, Rivers, thank you so much.
Ticket for the show.
Appreciated. Oh, by the way, I really am going to see if I can play a show in the US next year. So you might actually be buying a ticket to the show, Rivers. Not that I'd charge you, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. After the year of support, has it been that long? Something like that? Year and a half? Has Jake been topless this whole time? Hell yeah, he has. It's hot in here, and I don't want to turn the AC on because that shit's expensive. I just got the electricity bill and nearly wept.
In the very beginning, and now things obviously are, he's turned this into sort of his thing.
Good intentions, even though even the very first video literally was, what, 90% lies?
It seemed.
You
right?
got manipulated.
Yeah,
but
of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
that doesn't make it good intentions.
Yeah. I'm just saying it seemed, and a lot of people also believe that.
Was it good intentions when he photoshopped a fake live stream and falsely accused me of...
Ooh, you stepped in it there. You poked the bear, Oompa. Fuck. Oompa's face here is like, oh no. I made a mistake. I said an oopsie.
Not saying something I did say and falsely accused something. It was a good intentions when he put a king-size Feastables bar beside a regular-size Hershey's bar and didn't disclose that, and then lied about us having more sugar than them. I mean, I could sit here and do this for the next 30 minutes. I think that's just a misconception that everyone has. It's like there's never good intentions.
Yeah.
You hit a nerve there, dude. You hit Jimmy's fucking nerve right there.
Of course, but I'm just...
I watched that video and I was like, this is just lies. And everyone's like, oh my God. I was like, whoa.
We're just talking about optics, though.
Okay,
my point.
optically.
Right, optically.
People who fell for the optics, yes.
But that's the lowest common denominator. That's what makes this entire world that we're in go round.
Well, Jim. What the thing Jimmy's talking about there is like seeing a video about you and I'm just being like, what a load of shit. And then you see everyone around you just being like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. And you're like, what the fuck? He didn't. What? The amount of, or the complete lack of fact checking. Like people will just see something from an alternative source and just be like, oh my God, he did that. And it's like, no, he didn't. Someone has just said something with nothing to back it up. And you've just gone, oh my God, that must be true. I seriously understand that sentiment because like it's pissed me off. I was like, I thought people trusted me more than this because I've been through that shit. Like someone posts something and it's like, well, that's obviously bullshit. They didn't even post evidence. They just said it. And then everyone in the comments is like, oh my God, I can't believe he's such a piece of shit. And I was like, that never happened. What are you talking about? They didn't even post any evidence. They just said it.
Is how people are reacting to things. You can't expect people to be, to go out of their way.
You can never ever underestimate how optimistically people will just dogpile you. They get a boner from it. It's like they finally get to have some power, some influence over your life. It gives them like this false sense of power. They enjoy it. It's gross.
To give you the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So
yeah.
it's super important to consider all that.
Yes.
But yeah, and obviously it's been proven now that he is Mr. and misinformation combined, right?
That's adorable, Umperville. How cute. What a cute little joke you made there.
It's for someone like me who actually cares about, like, I like to pretend that I care about the truth of things, and I don't want someone like you who has worked very hard objectively to get where you're at.
Anti-Jake videos that are just spoken, no evidence. Shannon, almost all of them are. In fact, all of them are. There was never any evidence. It's just people saying shit, but people were so ready to accept this stuff. They were so excited to fucking dogpile me. I was like, all this hard work I put in for you guys didn't count for shit. Whatever. Ooh, the Shadman poster is covered. Ooh, sorry. that came out of me. That was so genuine. Ooh. How do you intend to regain Dogpack saying Mr. Beast the Antichrist? Funds used to do charity, using charity for content. Blindness charity paid 2 years late. 100 wells in Africa. I don't really care about this stuff. Feastful is using child slaves. Mold in Lunchley.
Friend of the show, Rosanna Pansino, happened to get a moldy Lunchley, and a couple other creators got moldy Lunchleys, and then that began the claims sprouted out of that that Lunchley had been recalled due to those problems, due to the mold problems.
Yes.
Moldy cheese.
YouTube, people hijacked my fame 100%. People were like from the beginning. People were jealous of how big I got, as quickly as I did. There were a ton of shitty little goth channels that were super pissed about how famous I got. So they literally hijacked it. They literally stole the spotlight by just saying shit about me, because to me, it was just so unbelievably fucking immature. The last thing I wanted to do was shine a spotlight on it and just be like, yeah, none of this is true, because it was just so fucking stupid to me. I was like, there's no way people are believing this. Because they've not because for me, I operate in these YouTubers here, so like Umperville, Tom Dark, all these other commentary channels, they do not fucking say anything unless they have evidence of it. So this is my experience of like call out videos. Like if there's no evidence, they don't say it. But like the complete opposite it was an isolated incident with me. People were just allowed to say anything they wanted. No one was calling them out on it. No one was correcting them. No one was being like, oh, there's no evidence here. That's interesting. There was none of that. Like, it was just running rampant, and people were super excited and super happy to accept it, even though they probably knew it was bullshit. They just loved the idea that it was going to be taking me down. It was what they wanted. They had wanted it since the beginning. Like, these shitty, jealous little goth bitches online, like, they were so pissed off that I got so big so quickly because I was actually funny, interesting, and intelligent. Qualities they lack in great amounts. So the best thing they did was just like, let's just shit on him. Hell yeah. We don't have to come up with anything interesting. We can just shit on Jake and get shit tons of views. I mean, you don't really have a lasting audience from stuff like that. It's a flash in the pan. You get a very brief flash of interest in your channel because people are excited to see a hero fall. It's their favorite thing. People rub one out every night thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't even, they didn't even need to provide proof. People were just so excited and so ready to accept it. So I get why Mr. Beast, I get why Jimmy's super pissed about that, because it's like you have to sit there and see that someone has just lied their fucking ass off, and everyone was super excited to immediately believe it. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck have I been doing all of this for the last couple of years for? Did I garner no goodwill with fucking anybody? Some shit for brains has just come up and just said the dumbest baseless shit, and you've all just gone, oh, well, that's it. He's a piece of shit. Like, what? Are you all that fucking brain dead? But you see, the biggest issue as well, like, for me, it wasn't people being like, oh, well, Jake's bad now. For me, it was, I was upset, not because people felt like that way about me. For me, I was upset because I was like, I'm so, it disappoints me how unbelievably untrustworthy the mob is. Because, like, I had, the audience was there, and I was like, you guys are great. I trust you. We're not friends. It's parasocial. You know how this shit works. But there was, like, a connection there. And I felt like we all trusted and understood and liked each other. And then immediately it was just like, nope, ditch him immediately. And it's just like, what the fuck? I was disappointed. Honestly, I lost a lot of faith in humanity following all that bullshit. I really did. Like, I was just so disappointed in everybody. It wasn't that, people were leaving or people were saying shit things about me. It was just like, I was just disappointed that they were even that easily persuaded with zero evidence at all. To this day, zero evidence. There's literally nothing. The only person who's ever posted any evidence or screenshots proving anything they've said was fucking me. I did. And it was ignored entirely because it didn't fit the narrative that they had woven between each other. And like, if any of these commentary channels had seen any of this shit, they would have wrecked them. They really would. Like, if Tom Doc had seen it, or if any of these other commentary channels had seen what was happening with me and this fucking mob, they would have gone through all the videos and been like, yeah, there's like fucking no evidence against this dude at all. I don't understand why everyone's just so hateful. But it's the goth community, man. The goth community is the most shitty, toxic, nasty, venomous, disgusting, backstabbing community on the internet. Do you ever wonder why there are no big goth YouTubers? Because the goth community eats them alive because they're so fucking jealous of one another. They're shitty little clout chasers. All of them want clout. That's all they care about. If one goth gets too big, they fucking destroy them. They don't let them get too big. There aren't any big goth YouTubers. They won't fucking let them get big. They can't stand them. But yeah, like, I lost a lot of faith in humanity, and it's sort of like it affected how I see people in my inner circle, which is why I pushed everyone out of the band, and I pushed every friend I had at the time away, because I was just like, I can't fucking trust any of you dildos. I can't trust any of you. So I ditched everybody because I was just like, I can't believe people are like this. I didn't care about people attacking me or anything like that. I didn't care about people being critical. You can be critical, but to me, it was just, I was more just disappointed that people were just that stupid. I honestly thought they were better than that, but they weren't. They weren't better than that. But whatever. Hell, let's move forward with like an entirely new audience that isn't full of shit. And if anything happens like this again, I want Tom Doc and all these other characters to come in and just be like, yeah, let's have a look at the evidence here and see if there's anything actually that holds weight this time. I've gone into like goths tweeting on Twitter, like the replies and shit like that. It's just the most sanctimonious, toxic bullshit ever. And I should have known better than to try and get big in such a nasty community. But if you look like this, you're going to attract that kind of people. But it was never my intention, to be honest. YouTube showed me to like an alternative demographic, and they showed up and they threw themselves at me. So I was like, all right, okay, I guess we're doing this. This is fun. This is good. And but man, I want like an audience that knows what fucking video games are, dude. I want an audience that like shares my interest in horror games, or shares my interest in some of the things that I talk about. And I never did have that with my original audience. It was just like, say something else funny about TikTok kids, Jake. Ha 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 ha. It was quite vacuous, quite vapid. It was starting to grate on my nerves. So I guess I should be thankful. And I'm just excited to move into like a new audience. One that's not quite so bipolar.
How do you plead?
Yes. How do I plead? What am I on trial? Well, there was no recall. I mean, that's been said, which again, it's like, it's so annoying. It's the disinformation, man, because that makes it seem like there's an actual serious problem. Oh, we're recalling Lunchleys, and there's a sign that, I think Logan even did a video, if you want to throw up, where he like went to the store and that just wasn't real. That like someone put on like a door that said Lunchley has been recalled when the shelves are empty by the FDA, which was just a made up thing. On the mold thing, here's the thing. We, every single Lunchley with cheese meat is USDA inspected. There is no mold when it leaves our factory. Yeah. Like, we have the highest QC standards imaginable. Like, what do we have? Why would we ship that out? Like, that doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? And we obviously have the best experts in the world.
I mean, he is right. There's been no recall by the FDA. If the mold situation was that bad, but you see, like, this
ship that out. Like, when it leaves our factory, like, we have Lunchley with. Here's the thing, USDA. What do we have? Why would we ship that out? Like, that doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? And we obviously have the best experts in the world. I mean, even once these things come out, I mean, we brought even more. They're pouring up and down the lines, making sure everything's good. It's just, the thing is, here's a context a lot of people leave out. Pouring up and down the best we have a door.
Yeah, that, right? That's fake. This is what people do. This is what the fucking viewer mob does. Whenever it's not working, whenever they want to really, push through with their narrative, whenever they want to assume even more control, they will start lying. And because they're a mob, they're a collective, not an individual, you can't hold any of them accountable because it's not a singular person. It's not one channel. It's not someone with an audience. It is the audience. And you can't hold them accountable because it's a mass. It's a collective of people. So they can en masse, anonymously, lie like this, and then within their own ranks, spread it around and give it credibility, and then spread that out outside of the community that they've created, this nasty little community. This is what they do. They will see a compromise in your armor, and then they will start lying in order to make that compromise worse, so that they can have even more control. So that is, according to Jimmy here, that is just a picture that someone has just put onto a piece of glass and then took a photo. The FDA never did a recall for this product, and that's easy to find, right? You can easily see that the FDA has never announced that they did a recall of Lunchley, but that doesn't matter. The fact is that someone lied, and everybody believed it. Honestly, is there really a difference between a truth and a lie if everyone believes either?
Or that said Lunchley has been recalled when the shelves are empty by the FDA, which was just a made up thing. On the mold thing, here's the thing. We, every single Lunchley with cheese meat is USDA inspected. There is no mold when it leaves our factory. Yeah. Like, we have the highest QC standards imaginable. Like, what do we have? Why would we ship that out? Like, that doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? And we obviously have the best experts in the world. I mean, even once these things come out, I mean, we brought even more. They're pouring up and down the lines, making sure everything's good. It's just, the thing is, here's a context a lot of people leave out. Look at, I don't want to name specific brands but take a specific brand that comes into your mind when you think of something like Lunchley, something that's very similar, specific brand, I don't know, other brands, competitors, and Google their name and put the word mold behind it. You'll see thousands upon thousands of examples. And that, I think, is a key context a lot of people leave out in this, because they're acting like this is just a thing with us. Once it leaves your factory...
Yeah, they're selectively creating a narrative. It's what they're doing. It's the same shit they pull with Dream. It's the same shit they pull with almost every YouTuber. Once they see a compromise, once like a generalized hate group gets pissed off enough, or once they see like a way they can get in there, they will just start spreading misinformation. and that shit spreads so fucking fast. Like, misinformation spreads so quick. And people pick that shit up. They eat that shit up. They love that shit. Like, the whole dream shit. Like, the amount of people Dream could fucking sue. But the problem is that it was just a collective that was attacking him. It was like a collective of people that just legitimized their own bullshit. There was no singular individual. It was all just pseudonyms and anonymous and troll accounts, just building this false narrative. Like, how do you attack that? How do you go against that? How do you debate that? It's no individual. It's a mass. It's so unbelievably daunting to think about as a YouTuber, and it's what a lot of YouTubers don't think about, man. It's just like, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna get really big and just be myself and do my best. It's like, right, so clearly you've never succeeded in front of anyone before, because quite frankly, if you're ever good at something in front of someone, or if you are more successful or more popular than other people, that for some reason pisses everybody off. It pisses everyone off. If you want a guaranteed way to piss people off without doing a single thing to them, just get successful and see what happens to the friends and family around you. Seriously. Get successful. Do well for yourself and see what happens to the people around you. It's amazing how quickly you see, like, the people who actually don't fucking like you. Like getting famous, whenever I got famous, it became immediately obvious who didn't like me around me. It was so obvious. Whenever my channel took off and I got really, really big, like 300, 400,000 subscribers, and it looked like, and I was, everyone was talking about my videos are getting like fucking 50,000 views every 24 hours. It became immediately obvious in my social group who didn't like me.
A truck that's delivering it could technically take a sharp turn in a box fall and puncture the seal, or honestly, even something as dumb as like when it's put on the shelves at the store. Like, I can't stop someone from walking to Walmart and grabbing a lunch lid,
right,
going to the potato chip aisle, putting it there. And then like a day later, an employee going, that doesn't belong there, and put it back. And like, I mean, obviously they shouldn't do that. They should throw it away.
Of course.
But like, so there's.
Yeah, but you see how easy it is for the viewer mob to build a narrative? It's so easy. If they want to, they will. People, as much as they enjoy or admire the people that they watch, they also enjoy fucking destroying their lives. It's fun for these people. It's fun for the viewer mob to destroy these individuals' lives, because it's like, oh my God, we're actually like affecting them. That's so crazy. They don't care. They don't give a shit. They don't care that they're ruining someone's livelihood, something that their dream, something they've worked for their whole life, something that they've dreamed of doing ever since they were a fucking kid. They don't care. The fact is that for once, they feel like they have a sense of power, and there is nothing you could do or say to stop them from doing it, except for suing them or getting them into some serious shit. And trust me when I tell you that they show absolutely no accountability when you catch them out. They don't. They're like, why are you doing this to me? It's like, what the fuck do you mean, why am I doing this to you? Do you not remember all the shit you've just been saying? Trust me, I have. I've caught some of these people out, and like they act surprised that I'm holding them accountable. Like, how dare I do this to them? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They hate it, man. They love going out of their way to destroy people's lives, but you try and call them out on that shit, they get super mad. They're like, how dare, I can't believe you're doing this to me. So like, seriously, like, if I could give any advice to YouTubers, it's like, yeah, the success is great, and the adoration and people talking about you, it's super nice if that's what you're into. If you were starved of attention as a kid, which I was, you need to think about the fact that getting successful, becoming successful, and being famous pisses everybody off. And for some reason, it causes people to create a vendetta against you. like they need to get revenge because you did well, it makes people mad. Yeah, I don't have any friends either. I pretty much realized from the get-go that like I can't trust fucking anybody. The first group of friends I had whenever I came over here back in like 2011, 2012. Whenever I started my YouTube channel, like I wasn't even whenever my YouTube channel started getting big, even though I hadn't hung out with them in 8 years, they still went on to Reddit or 4chan or whatever and started spreading bullshit about me, asserting that they knew me when we hadn't hung out in nearly 10 years. That was my first group of friends. And for the record, they ditched me and started talking shit about me behind my back to this other dude that they had been shit talking to me about. Second friend I ever had over here after that debacle, I was like, yeah, I can trust someone again. Of course, went online and got their 15 minutes being like, Jake's like this and Jake's like that. And it's just like, no, I'm not. In fact, if you want to go down this route, dick face, I have screen caps of you being an absolute fucking cunt for the best part of 4 pages. You don't see me threatening to drop that. Because I do. I have those screen caps. There was like a whole fucking drama about it, and I was like, I'm going to save this conversation because I feel like I might fucking need it. And they were running their mouth as if they didn't fucking know I had this conversation. I do. Thankfully, no one gives a flying fuck what they think. And then it was the relatively same with the band. I think Gaz was being a dickhead for one comment, and I was just like, do you know what? I'm done with you clowns. There's so many things I wanted to say and just like to be like, actually, here's why you're wrong and let's point these things out. But I was just kind of like, I'm done, man. I'm done with people just being cunts to me all the fucking time, despite the amount I fucking do for them. Because ultimately, whenever you get successful, it pisses them off. They'll still stay near you because they like what they get. Like, they like the money, they like the fame, they like the tour, they like playing to your fans. But you? No, they don't like you. So, no friends. In fact, I've recently upset someone because they were like, they assumed we were friends, and I was like, we're not friends. I know you, but we're not friends. And I think this must have been like they've never experienced that before, so they kind of had trouble processing that. But I'm that level now. I will know you and talk to you, but we're not fucking friends. I will never have friends again. You will never know me. I can't do it again, man. It's so unbelievably frustrating the amount that I've done for people, and they still just shit on you the second it's beneficial for them. So I get why Mr. Beast is so fucking pissed off, man. I can feel it coming out of him. The fact that he was just so quick to jump on Oompa. Because he was trying to associate, or at least trying to justify some of Dogpack's actions, and Jimmy was like, no. So I get that. I 100% get why Jimmy's super pissed, and I really do hope that he sues Dogpack. He fucking deserves it, dude. But yeah, like whenever I say no more friends, I'm not like, oh, I've still got like a few ride or dies. I have nothing, and I'm so fucking happy about it, dude. No friends, no family. I talk to Kat. That's it. That's literally it. That's all I have. That's all I need. I'm so done with being stabbed in the back, man. All I've ever done is just do well for myself in almost every aspect, and it's always pissed everybody off. They hate seeing me work hard. It annoys them seeing me never give up. It pisses them off to see me succeed. I just don't need that anymore, man.
There's no mold when it leaves our factories because that's just stupid. Why would we ever let that happen? But
Right.
after that point, there are variables that we just can't control. And that's why every single product in that section, Google today put mold behind it. It just occasionally happens. I mean, but we're talking it's moving over 1 million units a week right now. And I'm seeing like maybe a couple examples here and there. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's really, they would have you convinced this is like, it probably
comes with mold.
Yeah, exactly. When
Yeah.
you're talking about very rare, and it's like, I bet you if you trace most of those cases, it'd be things like, oh, someone just like, I mean, it could even be like someone's refrigerator cut out, or they like when they put it in their car, they like threw it in their car, and then like, you know what I mean? Like they're just, I can't control these things, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jimmy's right. There are so many ways that these things could be circumstantial. There was no recall by the FDA. There was no cease of production due to health hazards from the factories themselves. And what is it, health and sanitization? They were never involved. There was no audit done on any of the food factories. So yeah, Jimmy's right here. The Lunchly shit was just a narrative spun in order to fit a perception that was being generated negatively against Jimmy. I think it was more against KSI and Logan Paul, to be perfectly honest, because it was more, honestly, the dialogue did seem to be, it was more pointed at Logan Paul and KSI. Those were the targets. And Jimmy was just collateral here, but yeah, that tends to naturally happen whenever you associate yourself with people as garbage as KSI and Logan Paul. It must have seemed like a good business venture, though. Let's see what else here. Feastables using child slaves. I'm sure that's not true. Mold in Lunchly, Delaware too.
Yeah. People allege that you hired a registered sex offender named Delaware. There's a big whole conspiracy with it. Why did you hire Delaware? And were you aware that he was a sex offender before you hired him? By the way, to preface this question, this is something that I think a lot of people probably feel like is really important.
It is.
So that in mind, that this is one of the most important things to me. I would love to hear the full truth response from you in regard to this.
Yeah, and I'm excited to put it out there because I think what people are envisioning is completely different than what actually happened. Yes, I did hire him, but for the context around it, I hired him when I was 19, so I was a teenager, and this is kind of leans a little bit into what we were talking before. This is back when it was just a couple of my friends from high school, my mom. My videos were getting bigger. I needed more help, and so I walked in because I'm dumb. Like I probably should have gone on some site and hired people who had production experience, but instead I walked into my local Best Buy and I just hired multiple people. Obviously, when I was a teenager, I didn't know what a background check was, and I just hired a couple people there that wanted to help me make videos. One of them was the person named Delaware, and no, I did not know he was a registered sex offender. There's a rumor that's gone around that said that he sat me and my mom down and told us. Obviously, I don't remember that happening. And when I read that tweet, the first thing I did was I called my mom and I was like, hey, this is like 7 or 8 years ago. Just put this in context. 7 or 8 years ago, not indicative of my company today, but I was like, did this happen? Because someone's claiming this happened. My mom said, I would have literally quit or honestly probably shut the business down before I ever let my teenage son hire a registered sex offender knowingly, which I have a very protective mom. So, I mean, even if you don't believe me, you should at least believe that I feel like it's not absurd to.
No background checks before hiring. This was back whenever it wasn't so much like a corporate team. It was just him putting together like a group of employees to help him create content. There was no, standardized process of hiring. It was just like, hey, do you want to work with me on my YouTube channel? So I get that.
Believe that my mom wouldn't have knowingly let her teenage son hire a registered sex offender. Like that just doesn't even, like, in what world does that even make sense?
So Chris Tyson withheld that information is what he's trying to say here.
Yeah,
it's like that just, I mean, that's just not even rooted in reality. So, But yeah, it's just an unfortunate thing that happened. Not that this, I take accountability. Yes, if I could go back in time, I would tell teenage me, hey, you're supposed to do background checks. 19-year-old me, he stared at retention charts all day. He obsessed over YouTube videos. He didn't know anything about running a business. Like, I can't fully put myself in the mind of me 7 years ago, but I'm sure teenage me also thought like, hey, Best Buy is worth tens of billions of dollars in a big corporation. Like, they also didn't do background checks. And like, I probably thought like, oh, I'm hiring from this big business. It's probably fine. You know what I mean? Or maybe I didn't put much thought into it because I was just making videos. But regardless, we do background checks now, and we do these things. I've been doing it for a long time, and it's just an unfortunate thing. But I just for context though, just to give to a lot of people listening, like, or watching, I called after that stuff came out too, because I was just curious. I called like, I don't know the exact number, maybe like 24 YouTubers, and I asked them like, do you guys do background checks? And I think like a dozen of those YouTubers have like more than 10 employees, and literally only 2 of the like 24 YouTubers I called do them. Like 6 of them were like, I don't even know how to do a background check. You know what I mean? And they all had employees. So like, I do, not that I'm not trying to deflect anything or whatever. I'm just trying to give context. Like, it's like, it is a little much to just think that 19-year-old me was just supposed to know that and have this knowledge. But, and it's unfortunate. And like I said,
yeah. And to be fair, I keep saying that you're the guy. Back then, you weren't the guy.
I was not the guy.
So
calling what I had back then a company would be generous.
That was the boy. You were the boy.
That was the boy. And but yeah, now I have hundreds of employees. We obviously have rigorous standards for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and to speak on that as well, we do background checks for everyone who works at our we have 2, a video game development company and a candy company. Obviously, both those.
He is making a video juego. I heard rumors. All right, so we've learned about Delaware. We just didn't know. Jake Weddle and war crimes. What's your biggest mistakes? Yeah, let's watch this for the next 10 minutes because that goes into the Shadman poster bit, which I'm super curious to hear. I think I know what he's about to say. I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. Yeah.
You've been able to really speak in a broad, sweeping way about all the allegations and everything negative that's happened over the last couple months. Yeah. Like, what do you think your biggest mistakes were?
Just a FYI. Look at the body language for both of these people, not just Jimmy. They're both uncomfortable. It's because it's a very uncomfortable thing to be talking about. This is definitely a first for Jimmy. He's the face of a YouTube channel. He's definitely not the PR guy. He's probably had a team to be dealing with a lot of this stuff himself. So I get. Yeah, his body language is one of someone who is uncomfortable, but that's likely the reason why. We do have a Google document in the description of this video that does clarify even further a lot of the things that Jimmy was talking about. Like I said about the lottery stuff, yeah, you can offer refunds, but the crime was still committed initially, so I'd like to see what the U.S. law process would say about that. It's like, well, we refunded them. It's like, okay, well, you can say sorry for assaulting someone, but you still assaulted someone. As for his team looking into the illegal lottery, whether or not it exists, my team's looking into that.
Over the last 4 months.
You already know what I'm about to say. We've hit it a couple of times. I wish right after we dropped the results of that investigation, I could talk a couple weeks ago. I wish I just instantly did this.
That's what I said. I was like, this interview definitely should have happened a long time ago.
Sorry, I have a little bit of a cold. The thing is, I've just never been in a controversy like this before. So
yeah, this is what I'm saying. He's never been in a controversy like this before. Mr. Beast has been squeaky clean this entire time. I would say that is probably what's causing his extremely uncomfortable a delivery and body language. He's never had to do this before. He's never been put in this position. He's definitely out of his comfort zone here. That would explain his body language. But it's more his speech that is more labored than his body language. But both of these dudes are uncomfortable, both Oompa and Jimmy, because it's a very uncomfortable thing to be talking about. And they both know the impact this is gonna make. Would that change how I would be reacting in this situation? Because I feel like I would be far more interested. I'd be excited to be sitting there clearing all this shit up. I wouldn't feel so much uncomfortable, more just livid that I'm forced to explain myself to fucking idiots. Milo, 19 months, thank you so much. Body language is not a fact. It is. They are factually displaying body language. And another thing is that body language almost is entirely without the person's knowledge happening. It's more telling than anything they could ever say or do. Knowingly. But some people can alter their body language to misdirect, I'm assuming, Joven. So that, that could be a misdirect. Like Mr. Beast probably, let's say hypothetically, he could know what body language would to be used in a video in order to divert suspicions in him. But his labored delivery and speech, there's a lot of breath in there. It's coming from someone who has elevated anxiety levels. I can hear it. So, his body language might be what it is, but his voice is more telling. But for most people, your body language is the reason why it is so telling, the reason why it is so important for ascertaining someone's intentions or ascertaining what someone intends to do or how they're feeling as subtextual from what they're saying. Is because most body language happens without the person knowing. It's automatic, which is why there are professionals out there who have learned to mask their body language. Mr. Beast, yeah, it's very likely he could be one of these people who has been taught to mask his body language. So let's have another look here. So. Right, so he's still talking about his biggest mistakes.
So I just, this isn't even a controversy. This is like 100
This is
controversies.
bad, yeah.
So I truthfully, I just was just ignorant on how to handle these kinds of things. And so it's been a good learning experience for me. I definitely realized like me just sitting on a couch, addressing a camera on serious things, like just not my style. I put a lot of time into like trying to figure out how to, not just be weird. I like this more like conversational where you can also ask follow-up questions and it feels...
Yes, he can. Oompa, you are allowed to ask follow-up questions. That is, you can do that. Yes. Just putting that out there.
a little more real, you know what I mean? And like, it's just... So in the future, I'll probably, like, if there's stuff like this, I'll probably just do something like this, you know what I mean?
Neuronormative people, Joven, I feel like it works even more on neurodivergent people, of which there are not as many as you'd think. A lot of people who think they're neurodivergent, that's a very specific diagnosis. It's a very specific description for people who have specific diagnosis. It's not as many as you'd think. Neurodivergency is not as common as people keep saying it is. Like, I'm neurodivergent. It's like, no, you're not. You're just a weirdo. Whether or not Jimmy is neurodivergent, we don't know. He could just be an odd dude. I don't know if this guy has released if he's been diagnosed with anything.
Or not. I don't know. If people throw out much more baseless claims, I also don't want to set the precedent where every time I have to come on here. So, give or take. But, yeah, Honestly, I just kind of wish I did this sooner.
Yeah, I mean, I could have told you that, Jim Bob. But I feel like I have been doing YouTuber longer than him, so... Yeah, because 10 years ago, I was still doing YouTube. 10 years ago, I started. He was 16. I've been doing this longer. I guess I've been doing it wrong if he got way bigger than me, way faster. But then again, if I lived in the US, I'm sure I probably have a much better chance. I want to learn about this fucking Shadman poster shit, dude. That's what I want to get on.
We'll talk a little bit about Ava Tyson and
Ooh, forgot something, did we?
specifically the Shadman stuff. I know we talked about the third-party investigation, which found no wrongdoing in like a legal sense from that perspective. A thing that a lot of people care about is Shadman's a fucking freak and is a disgusting person. Did you know about the painting in? Did you know about that? Have you ever interacted with Shadman before? Like, what is your relation to that?
Do you remember Wipeout, Shadow Beastie? Like, people broke necks on that shit. But they knew it, man. You sign a waiver, you might get hurt. See, it's amazing how they have absolutely no regard for their safety when they have the prospect of several $100,000 on the line. But as soon as they lose and they have nothing but injuries left, suddenly it's a problem.
And specifically that relationship between Shadman and Ava Tyson and you.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good follow-up question. So this is what it was like. I don't remember 7, 8 years ago. Back then, I used to have like a bunch of anime posters up on the wall.
Jimmy's gonna say exactly what I knew he was gonna say.
Just like set a foundation for context. We used to have a bunch of anime posters and things like that on our wall in the house. And one day, Ava put up this poster that was like an animated character holding a fidget spinner and a gun. Admittedly, it was a weird image. I didn't know who made it. You know, I just kind of assumed it was a meme. I obviously did not know who Shadman was. I've never spoken with Shadman.
Well, somebody better answer that phone. Because I fucking called it.
Not buy the poster or commission it or anything. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't really think too much of it because we just had like a lot of anime posters and things up, and it was an animated character that was clothed, obviously. And yeah, knowing what I know about Shadman now, it was a very weird thing to buy. I'm not really sure why she bought it, to be frank. And yeah, I mean,
You don't know why Chris Tyson bought the picture from Shadman? You don't know why? Well, I can tell you, there's actually a word for it, Jimmy, which is super convenient for identifying these people.
I wish I could give more details. I mean, this was so long ago. Obviously, I don't know the like exact thoughts going through my head, but I just remember, like, I agree, it is a little bit of a weird poster, but I also think, like, you know, I had like Naruto posters up, or I had like Code Geass posters, like random animes I used to watch, and like, you know, I never like reversed image search and Googled, oh, who made this Code Geass anime poster that's sitting on the wall or whatever. I don't, you know, I don't, your first instincts when you just see a poster is not to just go, who made that, and deep dive them. So
Yeah, are they a
I'm cleaning the Go XLR. It's covered in dust. I'm sick of looking at it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so essentially Mr. Beast is, I don't want to say feigning ignorance. Mr. Beast does not seem like he knows anything outside of YouTube analytics. It is within the realms of believability that he didn't know what the fuck Shadman what he is and what that picture was. It could have just been any anime poster. It's very likely, and that was long ago, man. I guess that was before Shadman was even that well known, and Chris Tyson had that fucking poster. Yeah, it is relatively believable that Jimmy didn't know. It is within the realms of possibility. He did look right at it, but like I did already say in previous streams and previous videos, he could look at it, but not know what the hell he's looking at.
exactly. So, but yeah, I agree. It's her buying it is very weird, and I obviously, if I had known what I know now, I would have been like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah, that's fair. Because I also, after all this stuff, I didn't know who Shadman was. I've heard of him a little bit on Twitter and shit, but I didn't know. Total ignorance there. So okay, and that's just one that's important. You know, people, because that's fucked up. That guy is disgusting. And you know, people do care. It's like you've got pedo art, and you were saying you didn't know. That's yeah, it's disgusting. Fucking Shadman is a freak. So. Okay, you said that I was manipulated by Dogpack. But before that, you said that you DM'd some commentary guys or some YouTubers like evidence of like the Delaware stuff, basically context. And I just wanted to know, so you did reach out to me. We talked a little bit in the very beginning. You know, it wasn't like we were friends or anything like that. But it was very short, and like I just wanted to know why you didn't give me that stuff or provide me with any information when I was the biggest channel platforming Dogpack. I think that, you know, I would have taken it as my responsibility to I hope people, you know, would believe that I want to do what's truthful and I want to show the actual facts of a situation. I don't just want to like shit on Mr. Beast for the sake of shitting on Mr. Beast. I just wanted to know why early on you didn't provide me I guess specifically, why wasn't that? Did you think I was a controlled op? You know, I would have gladly seen whatever you would have shown.
That's actually a great question. I mean,
it is a good question. I was so excited to hear the end of his fucking ramble so we can hear Jimmy's response.
We did have a call. I called you after the videos and I told you and explained to you a lot of things that weren't true. You're right. I didn't send you that Delaware photo. I guess I might not have even like had that photo at the time, because I think I literally called you right after you posted. Yeah. But I did tell you a lot of things weren't true, and explain a lot of things. I mean, but yeah, agreed. I'm not throwing you under the bus. I didn't send you any cold hard evidence. Maybe I guess I was a little hesitant because you did speak with him, and it did seem like you were going a little easy on him. So I guess I didn't fully know. But yeah, I mean. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I did send it to people. Why I didn't send that to you? Honestly, I don't really know, to be honest.
Yeah, it's fair, and it's just, you know, because I would have appreciated is all I'm saying, because like you know, in the very beginning, I did genuinely believe that, you know, I like the idea of whistleblowers. I think people should be able to criticize the guy.
Yeah, I mean that's not really. That's more specific to Umpaville. Yeah, 18 hours, and it's only just about to hit 1 million views right now. I would have assumed this would hit. He's not even tagged Mr. Beast. Maybe he was told not to. Did he down here? No. Did he? No, but there is a lot of information in there. Crypto fund. There's 2.
There was a comprehensive report published that painted a negative light on crypto dealings allegedly associated with you. To what extent were you involved in these crypto transactions, and how do you respond to CoffeeZilla's video on you detailing these allegations? I thought he gave you a benefit of the doubt in that video. Yeah. I think he's a very reasonable guy, to be honest. I think he's a very smart, reasonable guy who cares.
CoffeeZilla, is he talking about him? Yeah, CoffeeZilla is impartial for the pretty much entirely. He's one of those intelligent YouTubers that you don't hear about too often, who actually operates off of facts, statistics, and proven information.
Cares about like doing the right thing, which is pretty rare on YouTube. You know, how do you how would you respond to Coffee's video?
Yeah, Coffee's video.
Umpaville, it sounds like he's super scared of asking a question that's going to piss off Mr. Beast. That's going to get him to walk off. It's so timid.
And the report. Well, so I'll start off with the report. I mean, most people probably haven't even read it, but that's what kind of spawned that whole thing was this. Did you see it? Like that? Yeah. So the gist of this crypto report that was... 1 second, sorry. It's not my...
Could have cut that out.
Is to... The gist of this report was Jimmy is too stupid to like make this kind of money, therefore it must be insider trading. This is his wallet. Clearly there was insider trading because he never would have been able to make this kind of money. When in reality, which is what I told Coffee in that statement we gave him, it was managed by a fund. So I wasn't the one managing the wallet. I've never had access to that wallet. I've never done the buying and selling on that wallet. There's a actual professional who's written books on crypto and lived and breathes crypto every second of the day managing it. So most of the allegations there are just answered by I am too stupid to do that. That's why a fund was managing it. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, like Coffee said, if he literally said this in a video. If you like Jimmy, then you're like, yeah, he has answers for everything and just checks out. And if you don't like Jimmy, then you're going to go, there's obviously wrongdoing here. But yeah, I mean, the honest truth is I make videos. I'm running 7 businesses. I got a lot going on. And I invested in a crypto fund. They invested on my behalf. And I've never had access to that wallet. They're the one doing the buying and selling. I mean, there are thousands of transactions on there. I don't even have that kind of time. I'm sure you could probably even look at it and see days where I was maybe in solitary confinement or doing a video where I didn't even have access to a computer and there's trading.
True.
So
Yeah, it's likely he does have a third-party investor. Crypto is a pain in the ass. I bought a book on it because I'm old. I didn't just look it up online. I bought an actual book on how crypto works. And unless you sink a considerable amount of money into that, pretty much, do you know what? Crypto works the same way stocks do. Unless you're able to buy a significant amount of it, then your investments and your returns and your dividends, they're not going to be considerable. Stock trading and crypto trading, if you already have money or if you have a certain amount of disposable income that you can drop on that kind of stuff, I would say buy a considerable amount of stock or crypto, and then if you're you can drop $1, $10, right? If you drop $10 on something, and after a day you have $1 extra, right? You get $11. That's fucking pathetic. If you times that transaction, instead of dropping 10, you drop 10,000, your returns are going to be far more significant. But typically people don't have that kind of cash to drop on the stock market, to drop in crypto, so the amount of money they get back is not that significant, which is why you hear almost no one talking about it except for rich people, because they have the money to invest in extremely low yield stocks, because they're able to drop so much on it that they're able to get that money back, more money back due to the amplification from how much money they put on there. But the reason why people talked about Bitcoin so much is because Bitcoin exploded in value so dramatically that even small level investments had now become 5-figure sums in returns. That's how huge it exploded. And then you had a bunch of people who used that money to then get back into Bitcoin and sell it again and make even more money. Because Bitcoin was like every other cryptocurrency where it was almost utterly worthless, and the only way you could get anything significant out of your investment is if you invested a huge amount of money. I'm talking hundreds of 100,000. If you drop 100,000 and you make 110,000 back, that's a lot more significant than making $11 on the 10. It's a lot more fucking money. So it makes sense that Mr. Beast is involved in that shit. It also makes sense that he doesn't invest in it himself. And based on how Jimmy talks, it also makes sense how he's not intelligent enough to do his own crypto trading. It makes a lot of sense. Jimmy definitely seems like the kind of guy that would need this many people in order to operate a channel the size of Mr. Beast. But then again, the benefit of having a shit ton of cash is that you can pretty much hire everybody to do every aspect of your life, so you don't have to. Human beings really do just enjoy doing jack shit. Why do you think you have to get paid to do fucking anything? People don't like doing things unless they're getting paid for it, unless there's a reason to do it. Because quite frankly, human beings like doing nothing. It's their favorite thing. And trust me, I think human beings, not that we're designed, but we're mentally evolved to do that. Human beings are far too complex a being to spend 9 to 5 doing mundane, innocuous shit for pennies. The human mind is so insanely deep. The nuances of our behaviors and interests are it's infinite. How far we can pursue things that, you know, we enjoy or that we're interested in, or knowledge. So if you have the money, then you have the time. Seriously, more money, you have more time. You can hire people to do your editing, to do your production, to do the set building, to do the location scouting, to do the publicizing, to do the legal department, to do the hiring, to do the firing. If you have the money, give yourself some fucking time. That's what I did. Whenever I was super popular on this platform, I used the money to give myself fucking time. And I've never known peace like it. It's so peaceful. I would have 5 days back to back where I could just fucking play guitar or write music or learn languages or, you know, just learn stuff or just fucking go to the gym or just sleep. It was I'd never had it in my life. I'd always have to wake up and work because everybody in my life is always dependent on me. So I got up and I worked. I'd never had the opportunity to just do nothing. Not at the expense of my income. Just pure freedom. So I get why Jimmy would do this, because it honestly is such an insane, incredible privilege. And as from a human standpoint, it feels really natural. None of the big YouTubers in Spain have edited a single one of their videos. They simply pay some for it. Joven, I'm assuming, it's because if you're from Spain, you'll know Spanish culture is very much that. This is why I love Spain. Spain fucking gets it. Life is to be lived, not to be worked. They work to live. They don't live to work. The Spanish culture is enjoying doing nothing, is going to the beach, is having a cigarette at the park, is, you know, closing between 1 and 3 or 1 and 2 for a break, or closing the shop entirely because you just want to sit around and read a book in the sun, right? Spanish culture is one of the most human cultures in the world because they get it. They understand that the human mind enjoys its own company. It enjoys solitary or enjoys spending time with friends. It enjoys not being used out of necessity. I've been to your city. Which one? I've been to Barcelona and Bilbao. I mean, Italy's the same. Spain and Italy. Bilbao, yeah, I've been to Bilbao. But yeah, the Italy and Spain are the same. They truly do understand the human spirit and the human mind. It's all about introspection and relaxing and food and love and passion and doing the things you enjoy, all the things that the human mind enjoys doing. It's why they base their culture on it. Like the U.S. always brags like, we're the hardest working nation in the world. It's like, that's not a brag. Because quite frankly, your output is not that much higher than Europe's. It isn't. Like the amount of the PTO we get in the UK, I don't know about Europe, it's probably higher in Europe, but the baseline PTO in the UK, well, it used to be 30 days. Every job, 30 days PTO. It's 25 now. It's fucking sneaky bastards. But for a lot of jobs I saw in the US, it was like, you get 10 days PTO. I'm like, oh, where do I fucking sign up to kill myself? Yeah, again, Japan and China sort of, they center themselves around work. It's culturally speaking, but this is why I like Spain and Italy. They really do understand. Why do you think their food is so good? Because it is. Tapas is sharing. Tapas it's very rarely eaten as an individual. Tapas, the nature of it is to be shared with people, with friends and family. It's entirely what it is, and it's the kind of culture you can fall in love with because it really does. Like I said, it understands the human spirit. There was a TikToker I saw, and it was like, and it was a travel TikToker. He'd been all around the world, and he was asked like, "What's the best place? Where's the best place you've been? Or out of all the places you've been to, where would you like to move the most?" And he was like, "Fucking Spain." He was like, "I was in Spain for a year, and people closed the store at 1, and they just go out. Oh, you need something at 1 p.m.? They don't care. They're out having fun with their children, seeing their parents, walking their dog, swimming in the sea, cooking food, reading a book, meeting a friend on a park bench in the sun. They're living and enjoying their life. No, they're enjoying their life. They're not just living it. We all live our lives. Few of us still enjoy it. But this is why I enjoyed Spain. I know I keep going back, but yeah, that's why I love the Spanish culture. It really is like that. And that's how I feel. But again, to circle back to Jimmy, I get why he has such a huge team. Because if you have the opportunity to relieve yourself of all these responsibilities that you've had since you were of working age, then fucking go for it. If any of you are ever in that position where you have the kind of money to just relax, don't feel like you have the responsibility to be constantly on the grind. Trust me, and I know Americans are the worst for it. They feel guilty for taking time off. It's programmed into your natures. But just take time off and don't feel bad about it. There is not a single person in Italy or Spain who feels bad about taking time off work. I don't care. Life isn't about work. But yeah, if you ever have the opportunity, just take a week and don't feel bad. It's such a privileged position to be in, which is sick to think about. To experience true human nature, you have to be at a point of privilege. Gross.
The conspiracy theorists that think I'm lying and using the fund as a cover-up, there's got to be some way where you could just figure that out, like where I was on a plane ride or something. But yeah, that's like the honest transparency is, I was in a crypto fund and people thought I owned the wallet and it's called Wu-Tang Clan. Do you listen to Wu-Tang Clan?
I have, yes.
I don't. Yeah. So I feel like that's another indicator.
Really?
I wouldn't have named it Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
I had to educate myself on what Wu-Tang Clan was. Okay. Yeah.
I think that's pretty interesting. Because the whole.
I mean, we've pretty much got what I think we're gonna get out of this interview. I don't mind Umberville. I really don't. But I like, he does like fluff pieces most of the time. And he does occasionally cover the hard hitting internet stuff. But in terms of being the the person to do this interview with the assertive character required for something so high profile. I really do think CoffeeZilla should have been the guy. Again, I mean, we can talk about why CoffeeZilla was not the one to be chosen for this interview. I feel like it definitely fucking should have been. And maybe CoffeeZilla intimidated Jimmy. Or maybe Jimmy was just like, I'm going to choose someone who's not going to push me too fucking hard on anything I say. I don't know. The fact that LaCoya was not touched on, at least not by name, it is at least referenced. It's also not referenced that, Chris Tyson knew Delaware and failed to mention to Jimmy that Delaware was an RSO. Maybe Chris Tyson didn't know. Don't know. What's my take on this whole drama? I think it's the tale as old as time, where a popular, famous YouTuber with a squeaky clean reputation, people finally found a compromise in the image and fucking ran with it and spun so much misinformation and falsehoods in order to create this narrative where they felt like they had control over the power that is Jimmy the Beast. Jimmy Mr. Beast. Which is extremely sad and pathetic. We find ourselves in the same situation as the Dream. There's the whole Dream situation as well, where he proved most of that wrong too. And I still see people occasionally trying to say that, yeah, well, the Dream didn't cover this. I saw the entire video. Yes, he did. You just don't want to believe it. This is the problem, man. People they stick their fingers in the air and they don't want to hear things that they don't agree with, stuff that doesn't fit, their beliefs, things that don't fit their ideologies. It's gross. This is the problem with this situation. It really is. Because people are super ready and excited to accept the disparaging things they hear about you. They're also super happy to add falsehoods to these things in order to become part of this growing power. But they are very, very resilient to evidence suggesting the opposite of what they're trying to push. You have to push harder against the misinformation because people don't like the truth. It's fucking boring. Lying about shit and assuming power over someone like Mr. Beast is far more tantalizing. It's super exciting. The truth, not so much. It's not. Oompa is too nice. Again, I would have really liked to have seen Mudahar or CoffeeZilla do this interview. For the most part, Oompaville was scared to get the questions out most of the time. I'm not against Oompa at all. I like the dude. I just don't think he was the right choice for this interview. I would have... Yeah. I mean, just look at Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, man. All Amber Heard had to do was sprinkle in some baseless bullshit to some magazine interviews she was doing around LA. And what happened next? Johnny Depp had to go to fucking court with 3 goddamn lawyers and drop several million just to clear his name. Now, you could go into the fact that, women do have way more fucking power in the courtroom than men do, hence why he had to go so hard to clear his name. But ultimately, people are far more, statistically speaking, factually speaking, people are far more likely to believe misinformation if it's exciting than they are to believe the truth if it's boring. They are. Misinformation spreads 10 times faster than the truth Because people fucking love that shit. Big Rob, thanks so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. People really do enjoy falsehoods that are exciting and tantalizing because them believing it, even though it's not true, doesn't affect them. Their lives are no worse or no better because they believe this complete bullshit made up story. If anything, their life is a little bit more exciting because of this thing that's entered it recently. But by believing a lie, doesn't affect them. It affects you, but they don't care about you. They just care about the exciting, tasty new information. They don't care if it's true or not, which is the problem. You're going up against a mob. It's a viewer mob. It's a collective. It's not an individual. It's very, very difficult to unweave the web of bullshit that they fabricate because it's far more exciting, because it gives them this false sense of control over you. It's like, I just affected Mr. Beast's life. So yeah, but it's fake, it's made up, and you're ruining his dream, his life. You have a dream. You wouldn't be so pleased if someone was ruining your dream over complete made up bullshit. So yeah, but it's not happening to me. It lacks any empathy. It lacks it's completely sociopathic. It's a complete disregard for the well-being of another human being because quite frankly, you don't care. They're so famous and so big and such a ginormous entity in your life that you don't even see them as human anymore. But ultimately, if you do succeed in destroying their life, then they have nothing. In fact, they're even lower than you now because now they have to work against the accusations that were made in the first place. Well, it's hard to say. Look, I'm not as experienced at this or chronically online as all the other dudes that cover this kind of stuff, like Pegasus, like Tom, like Oompaville. How Oompaville even finds time to do this kind of stuff is beyond me. The guy's like me. I think he has a family, right? I mean, the family takes a lot of time away from like the computer, which is good. Whenever it comes to being as cutting edge as your peers, when you're going up against like fucking 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds who have no life, their whole life is just the internet and trolling Reddit and trolling Twitter and trolling YouTube and in Discord chats with all the other YouTube commentators, they get the edge, man. They're so much more present than anyone with a life or a family could ever be. So I am new at this. It'll be interesting to see what extremely embarrassing, obvious fact I've not mentioned or brought up in this video. But whatever Pegasus or Tom or CoffeeZilla, whatever they cover over the coming 48 hours, I'll be sure to listen to what they're saying, and I'll add it to what I'm saying, so I can learn as we go along. My day's done after this, man. I've got a beautiful fucking MILF waiting for me downstairs. I'm not gonna finish this stream and then just stay up here like trolling through fucking YouTube videos and watching 4-hour expose videos on YouTube or going through Reddit and Twitter. I don't have the time. Nor do I have the desire. And maybe that's where I'm always going to be one step, maybe 2 steps behind what I potentially want to see as my peers on this platform. But who knows? How dare you have a life? You're meant to be terminally online. I love that I called her a MILF. She is a MILF. Through and through. Anyway, guys, I'm going to catch you in a video probably tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to stream tomorrow. Maybe I could. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. No, this is coming out. my iMac was like fucking white screening there. It's not. It's just blurry. So yeah, I'll catch you guys later. I'm gonna post this video tomorrow. I was gonna post another video, and then someone left a comment being like, Oompaville just interviewed Jimmy, and I was like, great. I had 3 hours. Oompaville gave me 3 hours on my video. No wonder the views fucking stopped after a certain time. James, thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks very much. Or your first super chat on live stream. Thanks very much. That's very nice of you. Thank you. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the video of this stream. And hey, hopefully it goes super insanely fucking viral. And I get to interview the next victim of the viewer mob. Catch you guys later. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.